What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
All right, hello, True Heel Heat. I'm the AEW World Champion, MJF. Just in case you're deaf, dumb, blind, stupid, or since you listen to this podcast, or you're listening to True Heel Heat, and I apologize for that.
Hey guys, it's Thunder Rosa and welcome to True Heel Heat.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3, and we are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook for our AEW All Out 2025 review. Breaking down last night's or yesterday afternoon's show from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. As a lot has gone down, we saw the return of Jack Perry. Jurassic Express is reunited. Beth Phoenix debuted. And Hangman and Kyle Fletcher put on a classic in the main event. So y'all know we are here to... We got an all-star panel here with you today to do that. First up, we got our main man. You know him as the resident correspondent for True New Japan Pro Wrestling for the past, present, and future, right here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. It is your main man, Jay News. How are you feeling?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Great show yesterday, as per All Out. I am glad that I was able to start the show at a reasonable time in the afternoon, and not necessarily have to stay up till about 2 o'clock in the morning watching all the post-show stuff. So that was a plus. But we'll get to talking about all the matches as time goes on.
As we will for sure. And of course, we also are gonna have on here our main man, my co-host from the True Heel Heat flagship podcast. It is your good brother, the True Draw himself. Josh, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, what a crazy day of wrestling, yesterday overall. A lot, some good, some bad. Yeah, that's the best way to say it.
Okay, I have a question for Josh. What was bad to you yesterday? Some good, some bad.
Bad. Oh, has that to really do with AEW? Just so you know.
He's like, it has nothing to do with this show, but I saw some bad yesterday. That's all you need to know. We also got with us our main man who joins us usually for these AEW pay-per-view reviews. So we always appreciate having him on all the way from California. He is the professor from the NWA podcast. Kris, how are you feeling?
Dude, I'm feeling great, but yeah, I echo Josh's sentiments. I really should have left after watching the AEW pay-per-view. I would have had a good wrestling taste in my mouth. After watching that show, watching that WWE fuckery, man, it really did kind of take me to the why do I still watch this stuff mood. But the AEW show was all that. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk all about AEW All Out 2025. We appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all for watching us on demand. If you are new to the YouTube channel, y'all know to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. But you can show your appreciation in the simplest way possible is by dropping a thumbs up on this video. Help out the YouTube algorithm. It goes a long way to help the channel and this video as well. You can also share it with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. And of course, you can sound off in the comment section if you're watching us on demand. If you are watching us live, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you. The interaction usually is the best on our flagship podcast as well as our pay-per-view reviews. We want to hear from y'all what you thought about AEW All Out 2025. We're going to be doing the same thing for WWE WrestlePalooza tomorrow, so join us for that as well. But sound off, and of course, if you want your comment read on screen, you want to make sure your comment is highlighted on screen, you can do so with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. We got our main man G Loke in the chat who says, "What it do at THH Main? Smash that like because we have a lot to talk about. What happened, Eddie?" Of course, that's the first thing he wants to bring up. We got Zach who says, "Happy National Batman Day." SB3, Josh, J News, and of course Kris as well. He forgot Kris, but it's okay. We also got our main man Michael Allen Lewis. He says MJF pulled the bandito and had a match of the year candidate at CMLL on Friday and still put on a banger 23 hours later. Clapping hands emoji. Like I said it weeks ago to you, Josh, on the flagship podcast. I was like, MJF is looking like he's gonna make a wrestler of the year bid in this weekend. And there ain't a lot of matches even on this card, which I think had plenty of great matches, more than probably 3 or 4. Most people will think that is great on this card. I think that I think that there's not many on this card that is as good as MJF versus Mystico. We talked all about it on the flagship podcast this week. But what did you think about, now that it's done, that it's over the weekend? What did you think about MJF's weekend in Mexico and Toronto, Josh?
Well, I mean, he put on his violent boots. I'll tell you that much, because man, there was a lot of bloodshed between Mexico and Toronto. I mean, it was insane. He lost both matches, but doesn't matter, I guess, right? For somebody who's criticized of not working a lot, he sure did work a lot this weekend.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I mean, a match of the year candidate in Arena Mexico on Friday night, and then you turn around and have the most thumbtacks that anyone's ever seen in a match probably on this night, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here. We got also Michael who mentions, so AEW had a record crowd for All Out. The pay-per-view was very well received, and their numbers were still strong. what was the point of this counter programming? I mean, it's something that you have expressed frustration about in the past, J News. So now that the counter programming day is behind us, do you have an answer for Michael? What was the point of this counter programming?
I don't have an answer, but the thing I will say is shouts to Baby Seth, aka our boy Johnny. I was having this conversation with him yesterday, and I was like, dude, they need to stop this kind of programming shit. Really? Not for the sake of business. Everyone's making money right now, right? But if your shows and the what people value in their money, the actual value in the shows themselves, what the output is in comparison to, it's like your WWE pay-per-views aren't going to be able to compare with an AEW pay-per-view. They just can't. You get so much bang for your buck with an AEW pay-per-view at the end of the day. And then they still give you free shit an hour beforehand anyways at the end of the day. Yeah. And yesterday was super specific because they did a taped 0 hour spot for an hour and some change that aired on YouTube, and then they had the brawl, the tailgate brawl on HBO Max, and then they actually went into the show. So they had a whole bunch of stuff prepared for all this kind of programming stuff, all these kind of programming measures with AEW. And I'm not talking about the WWE product at all. I didn't even watch WrestlePalooza because I prefer AEW, and for those folks who know and have seen your good brother Jay News on True Heel Heat for years, I also prefer New Japan at the end of the day. So the WWE product is not for me right now. Mm-hmm. And to see the highlights of the things that went down, shouts to Stephanie Becaire and Io Sky, shouts to them. Everything else was a waste of time. I felt like they've wasted the entire retirement run of John Cena. Us seeing John Cena and Brock Lesnar for the umpteenth time is unreal to me. The AJ Lee thing, to you, like you stated, SP3. When I saw the clips of the match, I was like, "Why does this feel like a house show match? This should feel like a bigger deal." And then they threw in Cody versus Drew McIntyre. They threw it in at the end of the day, and I'm like, what?
And they made it the main event,
right? And I was like, "Come on, like what?" Like, I understand the belief that the company has that their fan base is going to eat everything up. But if you analyze this stuff to a certain degree like we do, it's like this just doesn't – it shouldn't have gone after or up against an AEW pay-per-view. Not the way that AEW produces their pay-per-views. Not to this level at the end of the day. If you wanted to do it today, it would have been fine. It didn't had no business going on a Saturday. It had no business going on a Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying, or I think it was Benno on our preview. Like there was, and I think Maggie was the one that said there's only one match on WrestlePalooza that is going to feel like it's on the same level as All Out. That was Stephanie Becaire and Io Sky. Yeah. Everything else, I could have saw it on an episode of Raw or SmackDown, basically. So
yeah, man,
pretty much.
To
me, it reminded me like if you had a girlfriend that dumped you, and you're like, okay, I have to move on. Let me date somebody else. And then that girlfriend finds out that you are dating somebody else and starts showing up to the date that you're on to try to like shake you and make you feel away, you know. I really didn't like that WWE pay-per-view. It was not worth it. It was and I got to get in out of the habit of calling them pay-per-views. The PLE, it was not great. It was not anything that I needed to see. It was counter programming for the sake of I don't know what. It just feels like that company is only in the making money business and nothing else. They do not care about quality control anymore. It's just let's pump out this shit and throw it out there, and give people matches that they didn't ask for, like Cena versus Lesnar for the umpteenth time. Have Cena get destroyed in the beginning of the match. I mean, it just wasn't a good look from that company. And I do think AEW, the next time WWE does this, they're gonna need to leave their pay-per-view on at the regular time. Just bite the bullet, man.
I mean, this was a question. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there was a question on the post media scrum that was afternoon because it's 3 straight shows. He says that the numbers look strong for the show, so this is 3 straight shows that they've done in the afternoon, and numbers have still been strong. It hasn't really affected it that much. So, does he think that in the future he would run more afternoon shows because it gives him more of the freedom to run his marathon shows, the 5-6 hour shows like he did yesterday, because it starts in the afternoon and it ends about like 8-9 o'clock, and that's perfectly fine if you start at 3. So. He said it's actually something that he's considering. So,
yeah, well, I mean, at least this time I kind of only came in after the second or third match, so I'm getting used to these AEW afternoon shows. So that's progress, I guess. But yeah, man, for me, it's like 11 a.m. out here, you know. Now I like to do watching stuff during the day, but 11 a.m. Come on, man. He's
like, that's a little much. That's a little too early. Too early in the morning. But we got Frantic World, who says, what's up, guys, in chat. AEW All Out Toronto was a very good pay-per-view. I rewatched some of the matches this morning. We also got a super chat donation from our main man, Dion Jenkins, one of our members of the channel. Thank you so much for the support and the super chat donation. He says AEW surpasses WWE in every metric but business, which doesn't matter to the fans. Do you guys prefer the earlier start times? I kind of do. Like, I think that I enjoyed the main event a whole lot more at 7 p.m. or 7:15. Was the exact time that it started instead of the alternative. If they started at the time they originally scheduled for, that main event would have started at 12:15. And at that time, I got kids. I'm getting tired. I'm tired at that.
Right, yeah.
So it's totally different. I actually do prefer these afternoon shows. Even if I was back in like the UK, the show ended at like midnight or just after midnight in the UK even. So it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think the afternoon shows do work better for people that have stuff to do during the day, and like during the evening, and I do think they're probably on to something with that, so they might want to stick to that, but still 11 a.m. for me is just, I'm up at 11 a.m. I'm just not thinking about doing stuff at 11 a.m. That's the only issue I got.
I do understand that. That. But he's absolutely right. Like that's the only metric in 2025 AEW hasn't been able to basically figure out. Like they've gotten the fan perception back. They've gotten a lot of like the creative and the quality of their wrestling has always been top notch, even through some of their bad years of creative, like 2023 and parts of 2024. They were able to get through that because they always had the great pro wrestling. But now the storylines feel a lot more focused. They have the individuals that they feel are the stars that they're trying to push for the future and for the now, and they seem like they have a direction that they're going on, and that there's some creative steps that they take that shows more effort than what we're seeing from WWE.
Right. And is the business metric like even like I don't want to say fair, but is it like because I think you have to grade this stuff on a per capita basis. I think AEW, for the amount of time it's been in existence and the television deals that they have, I mean, I think they're doing fine. I think they're doing great. I think they're the only way you beat WWE is by just doing the best show you can do and let WWE beat themselves. Let them, put on these nonsense shows and these non-feel good shows, like have Lesnar just beat the shit out of Cena for the umpteenth time. That's what you got to let them do, and just do your shows. Don't focus on them.
Yeah, and I think that's been the big difference with 2025. It feels like
Yeah.
they've been focused on what they do and what caters to their fan base instead of what WWE fans might have won or what they felt could counter program WWE. And they would respond to the littlest things. And of course, there was the CM Punk tape and them playing that.
Yeah.
That was a response to Punk's interview with Ariel Owani. Then Ospreay had to respond to Triple H. Then you had Hope's rah-rah speech after they badmouthed them during WrestleMania weekend. Like, yeah, they had so much stuff in like 2024, but we've seen a lack of that, and they just been focused on doing what they did last night, and that's what's getting the fans and getting the fans back on their side and raving about their shows and raving about their pro wrestling in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
So, we do have here in the chat a couple of more comments I wanted to highlight. We got Steven Chambers, who says, yes, more afternoon pay-per-views. Yes, please. We also got Dion, who has a follow-up, who says, leave it to Triple H to find a way to ruin one of the GOATs last year. Jealous bitch. Vince would never. I hate to say that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, damn it. Dion's getting it off. I guess Dion can't make it for tomorrow's WrestlePalooza review. But yeah, this is like I rewatched that matchup before we went live here today, and I was like, oh my God, this is John Cena's retirement tour. A botched heel run, getting squashed by Brock Lesnar. Freaking pantomiming freaking matches and stale promos, and we all we get is he did the pipe bomb and he had a good matchup with CM Punk and he had a great match with Cody Rhodes. That's all we've gotten so far, and we're only 5 dates left.
Yeah, and I got into an argument with a wrestling fan the day before yesterday, saying, well, Vince botched the Austin Hill turn. The Austin Hill turn wasn't a botch. It was just a miscalculation because it's not like they didn't try with the Hill turn. The Cena Hill turn was a complete, total, and utter failure. It was a botch. It was not good. The beginning of it showed promise, and that was good. Then everything else shit the bed, from The Rock not appearing on TV ever since the heel turn, and it just made no sense.
Yeah.
I want to add something to all this for all the flack that some of the people in the wrestling community like to give Jack Perry and the scapegoat gimmick.
Yeah,
right? This whole John Cena run is the equivalent of that. Let's be
I know, right?
Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
If you people want to give shit to Jack Perry and the scapegoat stuff and TK and all that stuff and how bad it went and all that crap, same thing goes for John Cena. I will say this as a person who loves all of professional wrestling. I grew up watching WWE. I don't mind the product at the end of the day. I'm not against it. I want everybody to succeed for all intents and purposes. For John Cena not to get a better retirement run, like AEW gave you the blueprint with Sting. All you had to do was that. And you fucking botched it. Right. How do you do that to your greatest living performer in the last 2 decades? Why would you do that? Is really the question. You know what I'm saying? And that's that with that. To answer the earlier question that was asked by Dion, do I like the afternoon start times? Hell yeah. Give me a 3 o'clock, give me a 4 o'clock at the end of the day. I don't want to have to freaking be up till 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever. I don't do that for New Japan. I don't want to do it for fucking AEW at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So give it to me straight there. And for all intents and purposes, you know, I think somebody in the chat made a comment about Triple H losing out to AEW is an embarrassment and their pay-per-views and whatnot. I think what people need to realize at this point is that AEW pay-per-views always are, by majority, I would say, for all of them for the last 6 years or so, I'd say a good 95% of them have been really, really good.
Right, yeah. And even the bad ones are not like I didn't like the one where Strickland lost, but it wasn't like unwatchable. It just wasn't what I liked, you know?
Right. Exactly, and I think that for all intents and purposes, there's no real comparison, right? I think AEW pay-per-views are always going to take the mark in comparison to WWE stuff from a value standpoint, from a work rate standpoint, and people always want to have that chatter about, oh, who has the better roster? Well, the WWE doesn't showcase the roster that they have now, do they?
Right.
At the end of the day. And AEW loves to showcase their roster.
Not with 5 matches. That's
no, exactly, bro. Like at the end of the day, you're making now with this ESPN deal, you're making people pay an extra $30 a month for ESPN Unlimited. Like you're not giving these fans their bang for their buck. How expensive are their freaking show tickets now? Yeah. It's like, what are we really doing here? Like Professor Kris said, it's all about making money at the end of the day, and I get it. That's the point of a business. Don't get it twisted. I understand that, but something's got to be said for the quality of what's been going on lately.
Yeah. And because also business is quality too. Yeah. You know, it's not just the making money part. It's you want to put out a quality product so people will give you the money. You know, and
but to be fair, there is so much of like self-hatred within the wrestling community that like there's so much of this like tribalism and brand loyalty that WWE can have a what people would call a mid-show, and WWE loyalists will just view AEW as just as mid or worse than that. Like they will be like, well, WWE still had the better show because they had the moments, they had the hotter crowd, they had more people there, they had the bigger live beat. Like they come up with all these other things that is not the quality of what they actually watched.
Well, and there's nothing you could do about those fans. Those fans are like the MAGAs of professional wrestling. They're gonna be stuck where they're at, and it's just is what it is. You can't pay any attention to them. At the end of the day, whatever's good is good, and whatever is bad is bad. You know, whatever's objectively good is objectively good, and whatever is objectively bad is objectively bad. It's really that simple.
This is a real good comment here by Kazai 6. With all the top stars of AEW out, AEW can rotate the roster and still deliver high quality matches. That's how stacked they are. Here's the reality of the situation. Both rosters are that stacked.
Yeah, I was about to say,
it's just the
yes.
It's just
very much so.
Right, yeah. It's like,
it is, man.
Yeah, like they hired Andrade only to fire him. You know, it's like they
to be fair to WWE, that's some of his own doing.
Yeah, it's some of his own doing, but you know, yeah, I guess you could say that. But I don't think firing was necessarily this early, you know. But that's just me. But anyway, it's like they don't know what to do with the talent that they got, you know.
No, Kris, it's different. It's different. They know what to do. They just don't want to do it. That's the difference.
Yeah, true.
It's just ignorance at the end of the day. To your point, and I'm glad you said this, man. And I'm not really much for political talk. It's the equivalent of the MAGA mindset. They know what the truth is, but they won't necessarily concede to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But yes, so let's talk about this pay-per-view, AEW All Out Toronto, AEW All Out 2025. As always, with our pay-per-view reviews, we're going to give it one overall word or phrase to describe our overall feelings on AEW All Out. We'll start with the True Draw, Josh.
Bloody. It's a lot of violent spots in the show, man. I feel like I was watching Weapons. It's crazy, man. But I think All Out, I think it's because this kind of reminded me of, I remember last year where people make that meme of All In and All Out, where like All In had like the rainbow and it was like nice and sunshine, and then the All Out side had like it was dark, it was gloomy. Like that's what that kind of reminds me of now for All Out. I think that's the direction they're gonna go with it, where I think it's probably gonna be like their violent-esque multiple matches that will have that. And I actually didn't mind it. I actually I embraced it. So it was fun. It was still fun to see. We still had great matches, so I can't even complain.
Professor Kris, what did you What's your phrase or word for All Out?
For All Out, I was satisfied. I was satisfied with the offering. Yeah, good stuff.
J News.
To describe All Out in one word, I would like to use a phrase. Descent into madness. I want folks to keep that in their minds. Descent into madness.
There we go. That's what we call a cliffhanger for the rest of the review. I'm gonna go with another one, and I'm gonna say my phrase is New Japan 2010s, because I felt like that's how this card was paced. The match placement was like that, and the main event was like that. So this was very much like they took what I liked about the Forbidden Door. If you remember, Chris, J News, I said about Forbidden Door, it was very much paced like a New Japan show instead of an AEW show.
Yeah.
And they just followed that up. And to take what Josh said a bit, I wanted to say, I don't think like this was as violent or as the juxtaposition of the meme that came out, because I felt like All In, you had the Texas Death Match, you had more blood than you had at All In London the year prior, so you can't get the same kind of meme effect. But All Out seems to be there just, okay, we're gonna go all out. We're gonna put all the bangers. All the bangers are on the All Out card, because this was very reminiscent to me more than 2024. This was very much like the 2023 All Out, where it was just nothing but bangers. Like when you hit that point, there's a match that's the turning point, which I'll talk about when we get through the review. There's a turning point match, and then from there on out, everything is either very good or it's match of the year worthy.
Right.
All right, we also got one more thing before we get into the tailgate brawl. We got Michael Allen Lewis with the super chat donation. Thank you so much, Michael Allen Lewis. We appreciate the support. He says, "Sup, THH crew. Think the TK news is women's tag? ? I have a feeling that your wishes are finally gonna come true. I know there's a lot of people out there who have asked for it, but there's a little context clues. There's a little breadcrumbs that have been there. I don't know if this is exactly the important announcement, but it feels worthy of such. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is it's coming. If it's not the important announcement, it's gonna come before the end of the year.
So I'll say this, and I'm gonna keep this brief. If it's not the women's tag team announcement, it's not important. It's not important if it's not the women's tag team announcement. It's not important. At the end of the day. To your point, the breadcrumbs thing, they've been slowly building. Now we have a women's tag team with an actual tag team name for those folks who might be paying attention and who might not be paying attention at the end of the day. So it's there. It's there.
We'll talk about that. What do y'all think, Josh, Professor Kris?
I think it's coming. I think they did the right thing by taking their time with the women's tag team division, because I still don't think WWE has fully gotten together their tag team. It's coming together better now, but I think with something like that, you have to have ideas germinating before you put it out. And so I'm glad that it's finally coming. You know, I don't want to see a division and just makeshift tag teams all the time that don't mean anything and storylines that don't mean anything. So I'm glad with the breadcrumbs, at least, you know.
Yeah. It could also be women's blood and guts. It has to be something for the women. Yeah, I agree. I'll preface what Jay News said. If it ain't for the woman, it ain't important.
Right.
I don't want to hear it. It ain't important if it ain't for the woman, bro. Like, if it's just another announcement for the men, like, we don't need that. Yeah. We need an important announcement for the women. But I love Dustin, my boy Dustin. Good to see you in the chat. Don't always see you, but we're right here. Yes, very much felt like a Wrestle Kingdom in the 2010s card. Very much so. Mm-hmm. But let's get into the AEW Tailgate Brawl. We'll go very quickly through the pre-show, which aired live on TNT Network. It was kind of positioned and kind of on commentary. They talked about it like it was an extension of Collision. Like Collision has become Sunday Night Heat before a pay-per-view, basically. So we opened up with the Ops, Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs going up against the Workhorsemen, JD Drake and Anthony Henry. This one was not too hard to predict who was going to win in the end. This was a quick, dominating win for Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs. They overwhelmed the Workhorsemen with their size and strength. In the end, it was the Kakina clutch on JD Drake for the victory for Joe and Hobbs here. And then they made a natural transition. So we'll talk about both of these matches in one, since they pretty much did that, where we went from 2 members of the Ops to the third and final member, the other half of the AEW World Trios Champion, Katsuyori Shibata. And he's here for a grudge match as he goes one-on-one with the newest member of the Death Riders, Daniel Garcia, who has Marina Shafir in his corner. This was a kind of very much a collision, middle of the hour or main event style matchup. You had like a slow build at first, then it got more physical. We got the bigger moves like Garcia hitting consecutive power drivers on Shibata, who has a history of his neck and head. You get some storytelling with Daddy Magic trying to get in Garcia's face, because Garcia still hasn't looked him in the eye since turning heel and joining the Death Riders, and that caused Garcia to kind of snap and drop kick the steel steps into Shibata's head. Finally, in the end, he tried to go for his different submissions and different transitions at different points. He hits a God-style power driver on Shibata, and then wraps his arms, wraps one of his legs, and proceeds to stomp his skull into the mat. Once again, Katsuyori Shibata retired from pro wrestling 8 years ago due to a brain injury. So this was a very effective finisher in regards to showing this new side of Daniel Garcia, who once looked at Shibata as a mentor, as he pinned him with a middle finger in his face. I thought this was an effective kind of pre-show matchup, kind of getting over the new character for Daniel Garcia, his new finisher, and his new music as well. So good presentation upgrade for Garcia. As I've said on the pre-show, this is his, or what I said on the preview with UJ News, this is his last chance for me. 3 times the charm, hopefully, for the pushes, but this is his third big push. This is the one that has to stick, and I think this was a good first step. I gave the matchup itself, I gave it 3.25 stars. The first match, 1.5 stars. What did you think about the first two?
I didn't watch the first match. I came into it late, so I came into the show when Joe and Hobbs were walking up the ramp and whatnot. So I completely missed the match. I saw Shibata's entrance and stuff like that. My only interest in watching the first match was to see how Anthony Henry looked, because he's finally back from injury and stuff like that. So from all intents, from everything that I've been reading, he looks fine. So A-okay. Props to Anthony Henry for looking fine. I like the match between Shibata and Danny. I understand everyone's hang up on Danny's gear, but this is exactly what you think it is. It is Danny being a young boy at the end of the day. He is now in a new dojo. He is learning the new ways of violence and then when the ways of the Death Riders. So he's out there in his wrestling shoes and the dojo shorts, not the trunks, the dojo shorts, because that's how John came in to AEW at the end of the day, for those who are lacking reference here. And this is the build, right, for all of that. I thought that Shibata versus Garcia gave me exactly what I wanted it to give me. And all praise due to the wrestling god himself, Katsuyori Shibata. That's all I say.
Professor Kris, what did you think about this one?
I thought it was cool. Yeah, and I'm like, Garcia is definitely patience is running thin with him with his multiple turns and characters and stuff. So hopefully this one sticks. And there's somebody else on this show we'll talk about that's like that with me too, but hopefully this one sticks around. And yeah, I thought the match was fine, and I think, you know, maybe being with the I was about to say the Blackpool Combat Club, but being with these guys, well, hopefully it'll give him the jolt that his career needs.
Hopefully so. Josh, what did you think?
I didn't watch the first match, but I did see the Garcia match. And I was glad that he won. Definitely needed it. Him being in a new stable. And I do like his new finisher. So I did get kind of worried though, because I was like, I mean, he did it to Shibata, so I was like, oh shit. I don't think that's the first guy you want to do that move to.
Right.
But at least he was okay.
It was effective in getting that across though, because it was Shibata.
No, I'm saying, yeah, but that's what I like about it too. It was like one of those things where you always get nervous because of that, like knowing his history, but at least he was fine. So I mean, I'm glad that he's okay. But besides that, yeah, I think it's a good win for Garcia. I know a lot of people have been waiting for something for something to happen for Garcia. Every time it feels like he gets momentum, it always gets cut short, or I don't know, it's a string of bad luck. I don't know what it is, but hopefully, like, this does them favors, especially when the BCC, they're not in a they're in a kind of a better spot. Like they're not as go away heat as they were. I feel like they're doing better things, even with Mox not being champion anymore. I've liked it a lot more, to be honest with you. So it could be a good thing for him.
Yeah, they've definitely turned the Death Riders thing around. So I want to give the entire group credit for that. But yeah, man, I don't know. A part of me, this is my gut feeling. I can be completely wrong. So we can come back to the tape whenever. I have a gut feeling that this whole Daniel Garcia thing is going to lead to a major payoff for him.
I would hope they're telling the story that WWE didn't tell, with Bryan Danielson infiltrating the Wyatt family.
Bingo.
That it's all to learn the secrets of the Death Riders so he can eventually beat Jon Moxley, because that's how it all started. That he was frustrated that he's faced Moxley so many times and never been able to beat him. Moxley started whispering to him, giving him advice. So now he wants to learn from Moxley so he can beat Moxley.
Right. I think that's what I'm saying about the big payoff, right? He eventually beats Mox. So depending on how long they want to be able to carry this, I think that will be a huge payoff for him, and it'll be the biggest win of his career at the end of the day. So yeah.
Most definitely. We get Renee Paquette and RJ City are at ringside in their finest denim. And they run down how you can watch All Out on HBO Max. I did watch it on HBO Max. Gotta say, really good picture. Smooth sailing. I had no issues on HBO Max, so I have to give it a thumbs up, a recommendation there. They also tell us that the opener will be Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus FTR, and then we get our impromptu matchup, a match just added to the Tailgate Brawl. It was Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly of the Paragon teaming up with O'Reilly's conglomeration tag team partner Hologram in trios action against the Frat House, Griff Garrison, Cole Carter, and Princeton Vance. By far, this was the worst match on this entire show. It went 3 minutes. It was a waste of time. The Hologram and Paragon pick up the victory here. Hologram, Kyle O'Reilly once again tries to put Hologram and Roderick Strong on the same page, but of course he fails to do so. It was Hologram who got the win with the top rope double stomp on Griff Garrison, which the Frat House, Preston Vance is all right, but Garrison and Carter, they're the color of money. I will say that. The color of money. They're not money, but they're the color of it. They're definitely green.
So can I say this? And I don't usually ever say this. But Cole Carter had a very short stint in NXT. I feel like Griff Garrison and Cole Carter can use a strong 3 to 4 years in NXT to help them with their careers and how to do things effectively in a wrestling ring. The only thing that was missing from this match for me, from a macro storytelling standpoint, is the clone thing. Can we get to Arez being the clone already.
I'm okay. I'm okay with them slow burning. I'm okay. I'm okay because I need more references. So I'm right in the end where I could say this was basically the wrestling equivalent of the Green Ranger storyline, because I know for a fact how much of a Power Rangers mark Will Washington is, and I can totally see Will Washington pitching the Green Ranger storyline for a hologram and Ella Clone.
I guess, man, but it's like I feel like they haven't. You remember when they were hinting at Tekla, right? Where they had the spider across the screen and all that stuff or whatever the case,
Right.
and it eventually all happened. But like the half-second glitch thing, it's just not working for me. I need a little more. If they're gonna prolong it, give me a little more. Is all I'm saying in that particular instance. Then
that's fair. The glitch needs to happen during like a match at one point, and he almost is on the verge of like losing for the first time.
Right.
Like it's causing issues like in that fact. But you could tell the story is going to be El Clone is going to be the first person to beat Hologram.
Yeah.
Professor Kris, any comments on this quickly?
No, not really. It happened. That's it. I mean, we could move on. I got no, anything creative to say.
Josh, what about you?
I did not pay attention to the match, to be honest with you.
Also fair. All right, finally, the tailgate brawl concluded with an 8-woman tornado tailgate brawl, as it was you had Triangle of Madness represented by Julia Hart and Sky Blue, who had Sin shirts, white shirts with red letters saying Sin, and the commentary team said that they are now being referred to as the Sisters of Sin. And they are teaming up with Megan Bain and Penelope Ford. They're facing the team of Willow Nightingale, Ring of Honor Women's Interim TV Champion Mina Shirakawa, Queen Amanada, and Harley Cameron. All the baby faces on the babyface side came out in AEW shirts, so they can do a synchronized ripping of the shirt spot. Which was cool. Willow got a huge pop out of all the women in this matchup. You get Blue, who wielded a staple gun during her entrance as Nightingale's team all charged at the opposition like a football team. They all ripped their AEW shirts off, like I said, but that delay allowed the heels to get back into the matchup. You get weapons start coming into play as Ford and Amanada swung at one another with a ladle and a tongs. While it looked like Cameron was about to use the staple gun in the ring on Blue, but it cut to commercial. Back from break, Blue cut off Nightingale in the corner, saving Hart and hitting a power bomb onto a cooler. You get Mina Shirakawa, who busses out, swinging a cooler as Amanada gave Hart some chocolate kisses. We get assisted tornillo in the ring. We get a freaking grill bust out by Shirakawa as Amanada put the lid on top of Hart and Blue's head. This was a complete clusterfuck at this point, where they were just throwing in weapons. Yeah. We get a trash can in the wing. We get Willow waffling Penelope Ford with the trash can, and then finally putting her away with the doctor bomb to pick up the victory here. I thought this match would be a lot of fun. It was fun in parts, but it was very much a mess. Like the final 5 to 6 minutes of this matchup, they just couldn't find like the groove and find like some type of like balance between the chaos and what they wanted to accomplish here. So I gave it like 2.5 stars, but it wasn't as good as I hoped it would be. But I'm glad the babyface side picked up the victory here. Josh, start with you.
The match was okay, but I did feel like I thought it could have been better, especially given the circumstances of what they were doing. It was just okay for me. Right.
Nothing to write home about. Professor Kris, what did you think?
I liked it. It's one of those matches where it's like, look, there's I know people are going to complain about Willow not being on the main show. It's one of those things where there's just so many people on the roster, and you gotta, sometimes you have to have the matches where you find something for them to do, and this served that purpose. It didn't take up any space on the main show. It was harmless. I was cool with it for what it was, and it was good to see Willow get that kind of pop as well, and Julia Hart too. I sometimes forget she's on the roster, so it was good seeing her out there too. So I liked it for what it was.
J News.
Yeah, I'll say this. For me, the match was fine. But from an objective standpoint, the girls were having a lot of fun. And a lot of the time, you don't see that per se. You've seen that a lot more lately, which I can appreciate. But they do, from a critical standpoint, they do need to agent these matches better. There needs to be a better structure to these matches. Story beats need to happen within these matches because as you were saying earlier, SP3, a lot of the multi-man all-star tag matches, yada, 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 is very akin to the way that New Japan runs their shows. But they hit story beats during the multi-man matches. And they need to start to do that more with the men and the women at the end of the day. Because even that doesn't happen with some of the men's multi-man matches too. So the matches need to be better structured, better agented in that particular sense, just so that we get more invested in the characters that these talents are at the end of the day. That's as much as I want to say, but the girls had a lot of fun. You were right from the preview. The face team won at the end of the day. So there's that of it. And this has always been a recurring theme for me, but I want more for the ladies on the roster at the end of the day. So them being showcased as much as they have been is cool, but now it's take it up another level at the end of the day. So
Right, yeah.
So the main card would kick off with the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, coming down to join the commentary team. And man, Bryan Danielson has had hundreds of classic matches. This was a all-timer performance by Bryan Danielson on this side. Him on commentary, oh my God. He like if he's committed to doing this, if he wanted to do it full time, he would be in the running for announcer of the year with performances like last night. That was amazing. You get him joining, then we get a video package for our opening contest. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus FTR. We get a very intricate opening video earlier today, footage of Copeland and Cage walking backstage, looking at pictures of Toronto Maple Leafs on the wall, and they run into legend Wendell Clark. Copeland marks out while Christian didn't even want to acknowledge him and didn't introduce himself. They then run into Bubbles of the Trailer Park Boys, who breaks out his Green Bastard character. After trading insults with Cage and dropping some F-bombs, Copeland tells the Green Bastard that Cage is an asshole, but he's my asshole, and then walks off. And that leads to the introduction of the hometown boys, Adam Copeland, who comes out to a raving rendition of Metalingus from the Toronto, the 13,000 in attendance in Scotiabank Arena. You get Christian Cage, who also gets a big ovation upon his entrance to the ring. FTR gets showered with booze. The match starts off, and Harwood is already jaw-jacking with Christian after Christian busted him open on Wednesday on September to Remember. Cage fired off some punches and bunches before posting Harwood with the slingshot right into the busted nose and then hits a reverse DDT. Cage missed his slingshot right hand, allowing Harwood to help Wheeler with the double DDT to take control and isolate Christian. Copeland eventually got a hot tag, and he ran wild for a bit with some flapjacks and some sit out slam. Wheeler leaped off the second rope, but was flattened with a spinning back suplex. And Copeland returned the homage to John Cena that John Cena gave to him at against Sami Zayn a few weeks ago, as he busts out the John Cena basically comeback and hits the "You Can't See Me," and then hits the attitude adjustment for a 2 count. Cage and Harwood collided while Wheeler and Copeland hit a double crossbody for a reset. FTR go for the heart attack, but Copeland and Cage are able to sweep out the legs and get stereo sharpshooters. Wheeler literally had to slap his own partner to make sure that he would tap out that he would go to the ropes instead of tapping out. Excuse me. Cage and Copeland stalled Stokely on the outside, cutting off FTR's attack as they try a Hardy Boys homage. But Harwood escaped a twist of fate from Christian and crotch Copeland in the process. We get the powerplex on Copeland, but Wheeler was too slow to cover and only got a 2 count. Copeland's able to avoid a shatter machine, allowing Copeland to hit the kill switch, and he gets a near fall, while Christian hits the spear, so they trade off finishers. Stokely pulls out the referee on that move and causes it to be a 2 count, which causes some new music to hit, and it brings out none other than WWE Hall of Famer Beth Copeland, aka the Glamazon, Beth Phoenix. She is AEW appearing in All Elite Wrestling for the very first time. She sprints down the ramp, flattens Stokely with a spear, carried him over her back to the backstage area, so Stokely is a non-factor. Wheeler tried a blindside to Copeland with a ring bell, but was low bridged to the floor as Harwood begged off and pleaded an apology to Copeland. They wanted a spike power driver, but Wheeler cut off Christian by dragging him to the floor and power bombing him on the announce table. We get referee Paul Turner went to check on Christian, allowing Wheeler to blast Copeland with the bell shot. This led to FTR following up. They hit a spike power driver. You get Dax pinning Copeland. The referee gets back into the ring in time. 1, 2. Copeland kicks out at 2.99. Oh boy, here we go. You get Copeland again. He fights off a shatter machine, this time laying out both members of FTR with the Impaler DDT. He goes for the spear, but he goes right into another shatter machine. They finally hit it on him. 1, 2. Copeland kicks out at 2.99 again. They hit a second shatter machine on him. Copeland somehow, after getting hit with 2 shatter machines and a spike power driver, is making it back to his feet. It looks like FTR is setting up for a third, but Wheeler was leveled by a Christian right hand, causing him to stumble back while Christian basically posted Dax. Copeland was able to get to his feet. He hits a spear on Cash. 1, 2, 3. Cope and Christian pick up the victory here in their return to Toronto, their first time in Toronto as a tag team in 24 years. Beth Copeland comes back out to celebrate with the legendary duo, applauds them both. Copeland tries to hug Cage and he unwillingly accepts, but it was interrupted by the music of the matriarchy. Out comes Mother Wayne, who is pushing Nick Wayne in a wheelchair. FTR then blindsides Cope and Cage, which caused Beth to get clipped in the process. Kip Sabian appeared out of nowhere with some handcuffs, and he handcuffs Copeland to the ropes while Beth frantically tries to get him free. FTR laid out Cage with a spike power driver before stalking Beth. Beth, realizing that she had no other choice but to fight, she gives her husband a kiss and tells him she loves him before throwing bombs at FTR. Despite getting a few shots in, FTR eventually get their hands on Beth, deliver a spike power driver to the WWE Hall of Famer as Copeland screamed at officials to get him free with some bolt cutters while doctors tended to Beth. Really good matchup to kick off the show. The crowd was definitely into seeing Cope and Christian here, the hometown heroes, and I thought they performed well. It was a good matchup. I thought the finish came off a little bit weird. There was something a little bit off about the finish. I don't know, it just came out of nowhere. Felt a little bit disjointed. You don't really need Copeland to kick out of the spike power driver and a shatter machine and take another shatter machine before he just gets the win anyway. I would have liked the finish to come a little bit closer to the Beth Phoenix interjection, because I felt like that was the peak of the matchup and they missed the peak with the ending. So good matchup. I give it 3 3/4 stars, but the post match is like a 4.5 star angle. It's a really great angle. It was very well done, getting everybody involved that's been involved in this storyline, with the matriarchy coming out. FTR immediately getting their heat back in Toronto, where the fans would have the most sympathy for Copeland, seeing them power driver a woman as well, like for her first time, and Beth in her debut taking a spike power driver. Love of the game. You got to love to see it. But this could set up several other things. Of course, it's going to set up more matches between Cope and Christian and FTR. But I also think it might set up FTR and Stokely versus Cope and Christian and Beth. But Professor Kris, what did you think about this tag team opener and the post match here?
Yeah, I liked the match. It was cool. You know, it was awkward towards the end. I did like I don't know if it was on the post show or the pre-show, but someone, I think it was Renee, called her Beth Phoenix, and they quick to name check that, like, Beth Copeland, get it right, not trying to get hit with any copyright infringements or whatever. And then the post match, I thought, under normal circumstances, I really don't like the violence on women in wrestling so much. In this one, I liked it because FTR are bad guys. And the story that they told was very fitting. Beth is very good about being able to take bumps like that. So she's good to have as kind of not so much the damsel in distress, because she wasn't that, but she was just kind of a woman outnumbered, and she could take those kind of bumps and be safe doing it. And it was a very good opening match. I thought it gave the Toronto crowd what they wanted, but then also left you with the cliffhanger of what's going to happen after this with the post match.
Yeah, very well done business there. Josh, what did you think?
Oh, wait. I just had my mic muted, that's why. The match was fun, honestly. I thought it was a good match to open the show. Like, if they were ever gonna main event, I think this was a good spot for them. Yeah, and the match, honestly, for me, delivered. Really fun matchup. Seeing Beth was cool. It just felt, to be honest with you, it just felt surreal, because she's always just been in WWE. So it just felt weird just seeing her on TV and her looking the same. Like her presentation looks the same. So that felt kind of like weird. But it's good to see her. Like, she always looks good. Like, she looks like she's always in shape. Honestly, yeah, she looked like she could still go, like, in the ring.
Right, yeah.
It was good to see her. Like, you know, she hasn't aged at all. And then the post match, I did like the post match too. Like, I just thought overall it was a good match, a solid matchup, and you know, it continues the rivalry. You know, obviously now we know going forward, like, if they do a trilogy, they're gonna amp it up. They're gonna have some type of stipulation, whatever the case may be. But I do like I like the direction that they're going with it.
Yeah, next one has to be like a street fight, some type of like plunder brawl after this angle, and then they can finish things off with like 2 out of 3 falls or a ladder match, whatever they want to do to finish it all off. J News, what do you think about FTR and CNC?
I thought the match went well. As a matter of fact, I thought the match itself with the 4 talents went better than I would have expected, to be quite honest. Christian and Cope looked very strong. Didn't miss a beat in there as a tag team, so kudos to them on that. FTR is FTR at the end of the day. To me, one of the top 3 tag teams of all time, and that's saying a lot at the end of the day. And the match went well. I thought, to the point that you were making, SP3, that last false finish, I thought was a bit much. Last false finish was a bit much.
Yo,
like I think it was Jimmy who said it or somebody else, but like Cope becomes like the worst traits of like Triple H. How Triple
Right,
H
yeah.
has to like kick out of like one more finisher, or his match needs to go just 5 more minutes. Like that just felt so unnecessary. If you're winning in the end, there's no reason you need to kick out of both of their finishers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of expected it because they're boys, but yeah, I agree. You know,
Yeah, I thought it was a bit much. I like the John Cena homage spot, contrary to what I've read a lot of on social media for some strange reason. People didn't like it, but it is what it is on that end. The post match stuff, I thought it was brilliant. To be quite honest, I honestly didn't think that Beth Phoenix would ever make an appearance on AEW TV, but she did, and or pay per view at least at this point. But she did. This and don't quote me on this. I don't know anything, but the way that the angle was run, it seems like this was a one and done thing. At the end of the day, but if I'm wrong, I'm happy to be wrong. I would love to see her be a part of AEW at some capacity, even if she doesn't wrestle full time. I think she would be a terrific addition to that ladies' locker room. She can definitely teach a lot of the younger girls a lot of different things and whatnot in comparison to what some of the other women's veterans that are in that locker room currently can at the end of the day. So different perspective at the end of the day. So I would love for her to be a part of AEW in some capacity if she wants to. But if it's just for the story and whatnot, bring it on. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed the match. I enjoyed everything that went down post match as well. Mother Wayne wheeling out young Nick was a good visual for folks to understand. It seems like we'll get more of that on TV in the coming weeks. Kip Sabian coming out from behind and jumping into the ring and whatnot with the diverted tactics was cool as well. I feel like the tag team division and the men's tag team division, and hopefully what they'll do with the women's tag team division is going to drive the rest of the year for AEW and whatnot. So I think, and we'll get
they
there.
did definitely load up the tag team division on this show, but like it's been very quiet. But AEW has done a great job of reviving the tag team division over the last couple of months.
They definitely have, and I think when we get to the tag team title match, I have a theory about what's going on. So we'll get there when we get there.
There we go. That's what we call a cliffhanger, y'all. But second match on the card, you had Eddie Kingston making his return, his first appearance in All Elite Wrestling since May of 2024. He's rocking his old Claudio Sucks Egg shirt. Kingston, rocking that shirt, received a huge ovation from this crowd. He comes down to the ring. The crowd is going crazy for him as the match starts, and he starts lighting up Big Bill with some chops on the early going. But Bill didn't even budge. Kingston is just cracking him over and over again until Bill cracks him right in the face with a big boot. Kingston tried fighting back with an exploder, but Bill used his size to stay in control. Bill was very dominant, kind of overwhelming Kingston with the size advantage before Kingston would make his comeback. We get Kingston screaming, "F you, Bill," as he started eating some clubbering blows. They started talking about on commentary how he has the moniker of King of the Bums. And Danielson reminded us that he was the one who gave him that name, but now respects Kingston tremendously. Kingston threw a desperation back fist to create some distance before drawing out the Kobachi machine gun chops, followed by an exploder suplex. He lowered the straps and goes for the Urigan, the spinning back fist, but Bill has to power him up into a black hole slam that looked bad. Then he goes for a second one that looked a little bit better and gets a near fall. Bill goes for a choke slam, but Eddie hits a desperation DDT. He signals for the spinning back fist. He connects with the flush, but Bill was able to kick out at one, surprising Kingston, who ran right into another big boot. Bill then missed a corner splash and posted himself, hitting the ring post, which caused Kingston to have enough to hit one more spinning back fist, but he did not connect on it. And Tony Schiavone noted that as well, screamed it, reacted to it so fast on commentary, saying that it didn't connect, as Bryan Danielson is trying to cover it up, saying, I think he did connect with it. I think he did connect with it a little, as that was the finish of the matchup. So flat finish to this matchup. Not the best match, probably the worst match on the main card of the show. Eddie Kingston picks up the victory. Post-match, though, you get Brian Keefe attacks him from behind, which leads to the music of Hook hitting. Hook comes out, as we've been talking about New Yorkers during the build to this matchup between both New Yorkers, Bill and Eddie Kingston. It is Hook who comes out to have Kingston's back. They fight off the former members of the Learning Tree, and they stand tall in the ring. And it seems that commentary was teasing that maybe Hook was talking about Eddie Kingston when he said that he would have new backup. So Hook's just trading one veteran badass for another veteran badass for Samoa Joe for Eddie Kingston, it seems. Like I said, the match wasn't anything really to write home about. Unfortunately, Kingston, this is his first match back in the ring, so you should expect some ring rust, which is probably why they positioned him in this type of matchup. Not really like a lot of pressure, low stakes involved. Just a match to kind of get him the big pop, make him return to get his footing back in AEW. He did not look the best. He was very winded after like 5 minutes of the matchup, but in the end, he got the reaction that we expected him to get. I'm happy that Eddie Kingston is back. This just wasn't a good matchup. I give it a star and 3/4. J News.
I mentioned this in the preview, man. I was a little worried about this match being the match that Eddie got on his return, and what I was worried about came to fruition. At the end of the day, the styles just didn't match. They don't mix well. Forget the part about him missing the Hurricane at the end of it all. It did not look good together. Big Bill and Eddie did not look good together, and they should have thought better of this. This has nothing to do with Bill's talent, because I think greatly of Bill. I think Bill's got a great future in professional wrestling. Eddie doesn't have that much time left. At the end of the day, they need to put him in situations where he's going to look great, and this was not one of them. At the end of the day, with that being said, hopefully whatever they have planned for Eddie is better than what we got for the match here. This is the lower echelon of matches from the entire show at the end of the day. The Hook thing, we'll see where that goes. Professor Kris, I'm not sure if you meant if what you said earlier was meant for Hook as well, when you were talking about Daniel Garcia and not necessarily knowing where they're gonna go with the younger talent here.
Yeah.
But this is for me, this is Hook's last shot, bro. There's just no way. There's no way they can keep on giving him opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, man. Something's got to click sometime. And if you're going to be paired with one of the best talkers in the business, you got to pick up something, man. So hopefully this works out. I don't know what's going to become of it, but I hope this helps Hook in some way going into the future.
That's to say, like, he wasn't already next to one of the best talkers in the business.
I know.
Right, yeah.
Oh, Professor Kris, what did you think about Eddie Kingston's return?
It was garbage. I mean, but the thing is like you said, he hasn't been around for a while, and he had a lot of ring rust, so you could forgive that. Mm-hmm. The Hook was not who I was talking about, but he's definitely in that neighborhood. I didn't even think about him when I made that statement, but yeah, Hook. I think AEW, the way they work is, if you are an underdeveloped guy and you don't have an idea for Tony Khan, he's not a creative force that can give you something. If you give Tony Khan something he believes in, he can use it. NXT, that program is if you have an idea in NXT, they're gonna give you what they fucking want to give you anyway. And I think Hook could benefit from that. Just because it's been a couple years now. I don't understand his character. I don't understand his motivations. I know he wears the crazy hair. Sometimes he eats chips. It's, you know, a handsome guy. I guess the ladies like him. But like, I just don't even James Dean had a vulnerable side. I've seen a lot of James Dean movies, you know, and James Dean is a guy you could peel back the layers to, and you're like, oh, even Luke Perry to a lesser extent had that on 90210. Hook, I just don't fucking understand the guy, man. They need to figure a character out for him. Something other than this I never taught guy. Have a purpose behind why you are this silent recluse, you know?
He's not Bruce Wayne, even though they're trying to make him out to be Batman. If folks don't get the reference, it hasn't worked. But yeah, Professor Chris, I agree with you, man. I definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
Josh, what's your thought about Kingston's return?
He was definitely rusty. I think more so I was just glad to see him back. I think once he gets his footing, Kingston will be fine. For me, it's more of just seeing how he looks, you know, how he moves. You know, this was a guy who was gone for what, 16, 18 months. He had 2 torn muscles in his knee. You know, part of it could be mental as well. You know, maybe he didn't want to go full throttle just yet. You know, but it's good to see him. I think he could benefit a lot, especially in that mid card spot. You know, somebody coming back. Obviously on the mic, that's gonna help a lot in general. So I mean, it was cool to see him. The match itself, I mean, it was disappointing, to say the least. But you know, can't really expect a lot, I guess you could say, from somebody who's been out, especially the kind of styles that, you know, that Big Bill has and Kingston has. But I mean, overall, it's just good to see him. Post match, you know, the Hook song, I like the song. It's a weird song to come out to for wrestling. That's all it really is. Because you see the crowd was quiet, and he came out. You know, they did cheer when he came out, but I'm like, this ain't the song you got to come out to when people get hype. It's just low key, kind of like smoke weed, mellowish kind of music that I don't know. It's a good song, but
that's probably what Hook did. He smoked some weed and he heard the song. He was like, I should come out to this. And then told
it could
Tony
be.
Khan.
No, you never know. But the pairing, I think it could work, but it's one of those things where Hook is like, you know, I like the kid. I think the kid is talented when he's given opportunity, but it's getting to a point where it's not reaching for me. I don't want to compare it to like the Austin Theory kind of angle, but it's getting to a point where it's like this kid has been there long enough that more should be happening. I'm not saying a world title run, but something significant should be happening where this kid is presented well, not only with that, but like, you know, when you're doing advertising and stuff like that, he should be part of that. So hopefully the pairing helps. Hopefully, I want to see where it goes when it comes to that. But I kind of do agree with Jay News where it's like this feels like this might be his last opportunity. I mean, the kid is super young. That's what benefits him a lot. But it's still one of those things where it's like, I want this kid to be ready to be here like in the freaking 3rd, 4th, 5th gear. He shouldn't be freaking stuck like at 2. You know what I mean? And it kind of just feels like that. It kind of just feels like he hasn't progressed on that level. And when he's given opportunities, he's shown he could. You know, when he had that match with Samoa Joe, I thought I could have gone places, you know, and they just stumped it. But then at that time for AEW, they were kind of like in a creative crisis where it was kind of like they started something and then they just kind of just gave up. So this might benefit him more.
To be fair, I think the purpose of that was to create the partnership with Joe and Hook. So they got the purpose of that, and I think that he did well in that. But he's not like he didn't have a Kyle Fletcher performance on this show. Let's just say that. He's not Kyle Fletcher. He's way behind that. He's not. He's not. Him. He was so far ahead when he first started. Like we immediately were like saying he's better than Dominic Mysterio. Now 4 years later, Dominic Mysterio is really so far ahead of him, and it feels like he's just in the starting blocks of where he was.
And it has to do with opportunities. Yeah, and it has to do with opportunities. You know, like Dom has gotten, to where he's at because of based off of opportunities. Now, if you're telling me like in-ring talent, I don't think it's a real comparison. But Dom has gotten opportunities, and Dom, to his credit, has made the most of it. So I will never take away anything from Dominic. It's just one of those things with Hook that you want to see more of it. I want to see more of it. I think a lot of people want to see more of it. I just don't want to feel like this kid is like a fucking like, what do you call that? Like a 5-year freshman. You know what I mean? Like he should be already elevated.
He's one of those NXT talents that just never gets told.
Trick the 8-year senior.
Well, at least Trick, he's improved in that time. He's like a Ridge Holland right now. And especially when you're the kid of a former wrestler, there is a scale. And unfortunately, now, 4 years into his career, it feels like Hook is closer to David Flair than Charlotte Flair. And that is not good. So
it's not good. And I'm hoping for the best for the kid at the end of the day. I did want to say that for all intents and purposes, like Josh was saying, the opportunities, right? I feel like there is sometimes AEW misses the boat on how to use certain guys properly, right? Guys and girls at the end of the day. And he's been victim of that because they don't strike when the timing is of the essence with everything. And they don't strike when the iron is hot with some guys, and they missed the boat on this kid. And hopefully, whatever it's going to be transpiring between him and Eddie, I think somebody in the chat mentioned that they would like to see Ortiz come into the group and whatnot, and then be called the Kings of New York. I wouldn't mind that per se, but because I'm a fan of Ortiz. But we will see how all that comes about. But like Josh said, 5th-year freshman, and believe this or not, folks, him and Kyle Fletcher are the same age.
Right.
That's insane. That is insane.
That is really nuts.
But let's talk about when the first, what I thought was the first great match on this show. Spoiler alert. But that was the third match on the card. It was tables and tax match. MJF going up against Mark Briscoe. As we mentioned earlier, MJF is coming off the heels of one of the best matches of the year against Mystico in Arena Mexico at CMLL 92nd anniversary mass versus title matchup that was nearly like 30 minutes, instant classic in just an old school style matchup. And then he turns around and has this batshit insane matchup where they have buckets of tax in all four corners. Tables are being set up at ringside. You got referee Bryce Rensburg has goggles on while MJF is wearing all white. So there's going to be some serious blood in this one. MJF immediately took a powder, not wanting to get involved in this. So Briscoe, basically, this was great storytelling right off the rip of this matchup. Briscoe made the ring the most dangerous place to be, as Briscoe wasted no time in pouring every bucket of tax in the ring. After a brief back and forth at ringside, both finally made their way into the ring, and everything, it was like a weird hush or went over the crowd where they were just tentative for any time that they were close to getting the bump on the tax. You had Danielson saying that you couldn't pay him enough to compete in a match like this. There's so many tax that they're both are sliding around like they're on ice. as they trade body slam attempts, but MJF pulled referee Bryce in front of him. Given a chance, he body slams Brisco on top of the tax, which got a big reaction from the Toronto fans. MJF drove Briscoe's head onto the tax, busting him open using the tax, which got a big reaction as well. MJF folded the tables up at ringside. Another great bit of storytelling by MJF, saying like it looked like he was going to set up the table, but instead he just unfolded them, folded them up and put them under the ring, started flipping off the fans and even Bryan Danielson. MJF ripped Briscoe's shirt off and delivered an Alabama slam onto the tax, all the tax bouncing off of the mat when Mark's back hits it. After dragging Mark Briscoe through the tax on his back, MJF put tax in his mouth and then fired off a right hand. Multiple backdrops onto the tax as MJF called for a third, but Briscoe flipped onto his feet, got one onto MJF, whose face was gift-worthy. After having his shirt pulled off, Briscoe spiked MJF with a spine buster onto the tax and got a close 2 count as we see tax the back of Briscoe's head as well. Briscoe then went for a froggy bow with MJF down. MJF rolled to the outside on top of the tax, allowing Briscoe to hit a somersault plancha before setting up a table. Briscoe launched a chair from the ring to the outside, driving MJF through the table as he then hit his dive to the outside. Another table was set up where Briscoe hits the cactus elbow off the apron. We get MJF threw a handful of attacks back in the ring, but Briscoe answered with a power bomb onto the tax before pulling out a tack-covered steel chair. We get that tack-covered steel chair is about to be used by Briscoe when MJF gets him with the low blow. He uses the tack-covered steel chair to blast Mark Briscoe, hitting him on the back with it, then delivers a tombstone onto the tax. He does the arm fold like the Undertaker, but Briscoe still kicks out. MJF had to pick tax from his hand at that point. MJF pulled out a table into the ring. He poured a bag of tax onto them, dishing out corner punches. MJF went for a powerbomb, but Briscoe punched himself free, only to be crotched in the corner. MJF went for the avalanche tombstone onto the thumbtack table, but Mark Briscoe clapped his feet together. He looked for an avalanche J driller. Every time there was a reversal on the top rope, you heard the big reaction from the fans. They're like, oh, oh, oh. Finally, MJF is standing in front of the table after Mark Briscoe fights himself free. He delivers a death-defying froggy bow onto MJF through the thumbtack table. He then delivers a froggy bow, a proper one, onto MJF on top of the tax, and then finally puts him away with a J driller on top of the tax. 1, 2, 3. Mark Briscoe pulls off his biggest win yet, his biggest singles victory of probably his career, beating arguably the greatest AEW world champion of all time, bona fide main eventer MJF here, getting the win that he needed in this feud and really legitimizing himself as a single star in All Elite Wrestling, as he's one of the rare people that have beaten MJF, and that list is very small throughout his AEW career. So a huge win for Mark Briscoe and a hell of a matchup. This is a matchup that's different from anything else on this card, and I think that's the benefit of it. Despite being violent like a Coffin matchup, you got so many thumbtacks. They made it unique. They got a big reaction for all the big spots, and I really felt like they treated it like very much like an exploding barbed wire death match, where like a Terry Funk versus Cactus Jack exploding mines match, where every spot mattered, everything mattered. A body slam got one of the biggest reactions of this matchup. Everything mattered in this matchup, and I think that was to his benefit. Love this match. I give it 4.5 stars. Josh, what did you think about Briscoe and MJF?
The match was fucking insane. I don't think I've ever seen that many thumbtacks in my life, because I've been at my job for 13 years. I don't even think I've used that many thumbtacks in 13 years. Like, that was insane. No, but I mean, it's everything I expected it, to be super violent, super entertaining. Like we've been saying for a long time, Mark Briscoe is always killing it. Every opportunity he's gotten, he makes the most of it. This was no different, and it was good that he got the win. Definitely benefits him a lot, especially against a big name. So I do agree. Like I think it might have been his biggest win, like singles win. And MJF. I mean, that man did. He worked this weekend. Maybe he did it to, fill in his dates so he could finally go on his honeymoon. Who knows? But the fact that he went from, Mexico, put on a banger, got on the plane to fly to Toronto to do what he did. I'm designed to sneeze about. And they were both violent matches too. So it was not like it wasn't like a basic like, let me work here and then do this to fill up my obligations. Like, no, this man really put on his working boots this weekend. And it's fun to see from MJF, because I do think, again, I still think he has the star power that he has. So I think someone like MJF will be fine. And he still has the contract, so it's a matter of time he gets the belt back. So but it's fun, everything is fun, and for where it goes for Mark, we'll see where it goes for Mark. But I think Mark is in a position where, for me personally, win or lose, it's always fun to see him. And even if he gets like a mid-card title, whatever the case may be, I think he's well deserved of it, like on a personal level.
Professor Kris.
Yeah, this was a very good match, entertaining match. I heard TK say something about they were gonna something about 10,000 thumbtacks. They wanted to call it a 10,000 thumbtacks match, but didn't know if they could get 10,000 thumbtacks. I guess they didn't want WrestleTix give it, saying there was actually 9,876. I don't know what the purpose of that was, but the match was good. It was good, and I was glad that Mark Briscoe won, because, and I called this on our show, the one I do with NWA, because it's like, how many false starts can you do with this guy? He's got to win a big one eventually. And I think Mark Briscoe is kind of like the AEW version of Sami Zayn in WWE, meaning like he's that undercard guy that everybody likes, who you wouldn't actually mind seeing get a world title reign, but you're always cheering for him, even if he doesn't rise to the occasion. He's just one of those kind of guys. So I was glad to see him get a win and just kind of elevate himself, like you said, SP3. It was probably the biggest win of his singles career. So
yeah, I think it's not even a question. But Jay News, what did you think?
Yeah, man. It got violent quick. It was the visualization of all those tacks in the ring, and then the tables around the ring. It led me to be in a mood where I was like, well, who gets the tacks in the head first, right? And when we eventually saw MJF just take it to Mark Briscoe and try to force Mark Briscoe's head down into the mat at first, and then that didn't work, and then there was the back body drop, and the back body drop is what got the thumbtacks into Mark Briscoe's head in the first place, and then MJF put the tacks in his mouth and he punched them out. I was like, the tacks in the mouth spot will never get old to me. And I remember the first time I ever saw that spot. We were at a show together, SP3, as a matter of fact, at a small, not a small, it was actually one of the larger nightclubs in New York City. Used to be known as Exit or whatever the hell it was at one point, Terminal 5. And so it was actually Adam Cole versus Jay Briscoe in a very violent match. And that the tax in the mouth spot never gets old to me. MJF just look, man, I can give MJF a lot of shit for the personality shtick and the promo shtick, but I will never take away from how much of an incredible performer he is at the end of the day, and what he was able to do this weekend, do not only for himself but for his opponents in that ring. That dude's a class act for as much shit as he talks, and that's his character, right? But that dude's a class act. He's a great professional wrestler at the end of the day, and what he was able to do for Mark Briscoe in this match was damn near incredible. So hopefully this does something for Mark Briscoe from a singles perspective going forward. And I'll leave the question out to you guys and everybody in the chat. Does anyone believe that Mark Briscoe will eventually get his match against Hangman Adam Page somewhere down the road?
I think it's a better bet that he gets his match with Kyle Fletcher, and he's the guy that dethrones Kyle Fletcher for the TNT Championship.
Interesting.
Down the road, either the end of the year or beginning of next year, like Revolution next year. He beats Kyle Fletcher for the TNT Championship. So, yeah, that's what I think with Mark Briscoe. I don't think they're going to go all the way and give him in the main event, because they had the best opportunity was Forbidden Door, and they didn't do it. So,
yeah, I kind of agree with SP3 on this. I like I said, I think he's a guy you could do that with, and the fans would believe it. But, I don't know how TK feels about, putting him on in that spot, so.
Yeah. We get Lexi Nair approaches and arguing Anthony Bowens, Max Caster, and Jerry Lynn in the parking lot. Caster told Nair to get lost, as Lynn said he jumped through a lot of hoops to get them a tag team matchup next week on Collision against Swirl. Both refused, but Lynn said if they don't show up, they'll be suspended. So Caster and Bowens bicker like an old married couple, saying that Caster knows about being suspended. Caster shoves Bowen, who turns back to hit him, but Caster was already gone. The angle that they did last week on Collision, really well done. This backstage segment, not so much. Then we get trios action to follow things up, which I felt bad for whoever going to get this spot after that tables and tax match. I was like, this crowd, they were a little bit quiet in certain points, even during FTR and Cope and Christian. I don't know if they're going to be into this after that matchup got a lot out of them. So they were not at the beginning of this, but they eventually got into things, as it was the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP versus The Demand, Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona of the Gates of Agony. Yes, Ricochet's new group is called The Demand. This was a very, very much more of a slower pace matchup. MVP wanted Ricochet at the start, but he got Khan instead. Eventually, Ricochet would tag himself in, and eventually MVP would put him down, hit the balling elbow for a 2 count. Khan was able to tag himself in. We get Ricochet, who goes up against Bobby Lashley and shows that he has the traps to stand up to the former WWE champion. You get Khan suffered the fate of a lot of people in this matchup, as Shelton Benjamin went crazy when he came in. He starts hitting German suplex, sending everybody to Suplex City. He gives Ricochet a few. He gives Khan a few as well. Then he hits a double German suplex onto both men. We get a blind tag to Bobby Lashley, as Benjamin caught Leona with the thrust kick, who no-sold it. Leona then sent Benjamin packing, only to turn right back into a Lashley spear. Lashley hit Khan with another spear, but Ricochet flew in and hits a springboard 450 to break up the cover. MVP and Khan slug it out until Khan hits a backstabber, while Leona hits a splash. Match spills outside as Lashley tries a spear on Leona, who chucks a chair at his face with the referee distracted. Leona then set up a chair, but Benjamin hit a step-up pump knee, while Khan saved his tag team partner. Ricochet then cleared the post with a crazy-looking Leon Slater dive onto the Hurt Syndicate. We then get Leona, who gets thrown by both Ricochet and Khan into both Lashley and Benjamin, taking them out into the timekeepers area, and they're out of this matchup, leaving MVP all alone. He catches Ricochet on a springboard, but he's not able to overcome the numbers game. As he goes for the playmaker, Khan gets involved, chop blocking his knee, allowing for Ricochet to be to set him up for the Spirit Gun and get the 1-2-3 for the victory here. The Demand picks up the first pinfall victory over the Hurt Syndicate since they signed with AEW last fall. So a big win for the Demand, really legitimizing them as a trio. They seem like they would be in position for an opportunity at the Ops for the AEW World Trio Championships coming out of this. So I like the fact that they got the win. I thought this match was so much better than the crowd reaction that it got. Like this was kind of designed to be like a regular kind of WWE-esque kind of trios matchup where you get the chaotic stuff at the end, but this was worked like an AEW party match. There was a lot of good stuff in this one. You get the high flying to the outside, you get the Gates of Agony look like beasts, you get the Hurt Syndicate who look like beasts. MVP got a shine spot as well. I thought everybody came out of this looking really good. I gave it 3 3/4 stars. I'd probably even on a rewatch give it 4 stars. This was really good stuff. Professor Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, I liked it. I do think that the Hurt Syndicate, they are first Shelton Benjamin, man. I do think we might have to retire saying looks good for 50 because there's so many guys in wrestling these days that are like close to 50 or north of 50 that are looking good, and Shelton is having a career renaissance. I do think the Hurt Syndicate right now, they are kind of missing a purpose after losing the tag team titles. So I do think that kind of needs to start coming into fruition soon. But yeah, Gates of Agony, and what'd you say their name was again with Ricochet? The
Demand.
The Demand, okay, I'm cool with that. Yeah, it looked good. It was a good match, a good showcase for them. And even MVP, I got to give him his props. He looked. I mean, he was able to hold his own, even though he doesn't wrestle that much these days. But it was cool. I liked it.
J News.
Yeah, I liked it as well, man. Shouts to MVP. The last time I saw MVP in the ring, he did not look good. This was not the case in this match. MVP looked real good. He was moving well, and things of that nature. I never have anything bad to say about Bobby and Shelton. They're great. Like Professor Kris said, Shelton Benjamin is he's hitting this career renaissance and whatnot. And Bobby Lashley showed me on Dynamite that he's still BMF Lashley. So we need more of that Lashley at the end of the day. For the boys of the Demand, I think it's just up for them from here. At the end of the day, the trios division, I think Tony's trying to stack it with the teams here and there. Where does the Hurt Syndicate go from here per se? I don't know. I think Professor Kris is right. They need to figure that out. But what I don't want to happen is what's happened with other ex-WWE talent in the sense of they're on an island onto themselves and shit has to be done their way. You acclimate, you adapt, you take what's given to you and you go from there. As to where they go from here, I don't know, but hopefully it's just good stuff and good work for everybody involved. I know that there is a certain part of the fan base who feels like the Hurt Syndicate needs a younger member as a part of the team. I don't necessarily know if that's going to happen or not per se, but I think that the guys from the Demand, at least, they're in a good spot and they're in the trajectory upwards, and they're probably going to be the next trios champions, if anything, with this win here. So, but I thought the match was great. I thought it worked well I thought it worked well in so many aspects. So that's my bit on it.
Josh?
The match was great, honestly. One of like Hurt Syndicate's best matches that didn't feel one-sided, didn't feel lopsided. it was evenly matched. That you kind of, you got to showcase both teams. This Ricochet pairing. I want to say I was skeptical at first, but I felt like it's something that it could work, and so far it's been working. I think each member balance each other out. Even in the entrance, they had the fucking matching one-piece jackets. Like, so like that's once you get to that level, it's like, oh shit, And
they're walking homage to anime, son. They had the tricolored suits the other day.
Yo, and it's funny because like everything they're doing is heel. Like the jackets are like heel characters in One Piece, so it matches up well. But then one thing I want to point out was that Ricochet spot where he mocks Bobby Lashley, then he throws punches and Bobby's just staying there, like nothing is affecting him. And then when Bobby Lashley throws him, you hear him scream. So,
I remember that. Yeah.
He's got to do more of that. The Ricochet got to do more of that. Like super entertaining. Like, that was too funny. I was like, wait, what the fuck was that? And I had to like watch it. Like, when I first heard it, I thought it was like, wait, was that him screaming? And then when I saw it on X, I was like, oh shit, it was him screaming. Like, but overall, man, a great worked match, and I honestly thought the right team won. Something that the new stable needed. As far as everybody's mentioning about where Hurt Syndicate goes from here, I still wonder that myself, just because I feel like Lashley, even though him and Sheldon I think work well together, Lashley's still one of those guys that I think he could still go. Like even if it gets to a point where later on he becomes a world champion, I wouldn't even mind that, honestly, because I think he still, he still has like that thing about him where he just looks like a fucking superhero, and he's been good enough on the mic that he's really improved over the years. That I really think, even though he's pushing 50, that his age does not matter at this point. This man does not age. This man. It's like he's on a fucking world on his own when it comes to his youth. So I think that, if they do something with him like that, I wouldn't mind. Sheldon Benjamin, I think we've always known how good he is, but I do feel like AEW has showcased him. I want, in the sense of this is who he's always been. And I'm happy to see that. Like, Sheldon doesn't need to win titles to prove that he's one of the best in the world, in my opinion. And I feel like ever since he got to AEW, not only we've seen like a different side of Sheldon, but it's like it's very unique, and it's kind of showing like how Tony.
Nope. Did I freeze or did Josh freeze?
I think he freezed.
Okay, Josh freeze.
Okay.
But yeah, he was making some good points in regards to Bobby Lashley. I wouldn't mind Lashley mixing it up in the main event scene. He seems the type of like strong challenger that Hangman needs in this title reign.
Yeah. And I think that's gonna eventually happen. They just have to kind of fit him in. Are you good now, JM?
I hope so.
Okay, cool.
I didn't know if you finished what you were saying. Were you good?
Oh no, I was just saying about Sheldon. Like he's been on another level. Like he doesn't necessarily need to be a world champion to prove anything. I think he's already proven enough. But I think AEW has given him a platform that we even appreciate him even more. But then it's like it's good to see him at that level. To even though he's another guy that's past his 40s, like he's in his mid 40s, and he does not look it at all. Like that's pretty amazing. Two guys who are like pushing their age and they don't look close to that. That's pretty remarkable.
I think
it's not
go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was gonna just say that I think it's just because Shelton is the only one really between the Hurt Syndicate that's really reinvented themselves. He's really working like he's working like he's black older Kurt Angle. He's working like
Right.
an older Kurt Angle style. It's mostly like
Yeah.
suplexes, big strikes, big moves. It's the high impact moves, which makes his work in the ring a lot more explosive, despite him being an extended age.
Right, yeah. I think for me, it's like with Shelton Benjamin, and I see the same issue with Jade in WWE. I think WWE like overthink certain talent. You know, it's like you don't that Shelton Benjamin. I don't think he ever really got booked to his strengths in WWE. And just like with Jade, I heard Booker T, and this isn't something Booker T stupidly said, but it was like he said that he could help Jade refine her skills or something, and I'm like, Jade is just fine. Like, what, she is who she is. Why don't you just book her to her strengths? And they never did that with Shelton Benjamin. And it's like Tony Khan knows what kind of wrestler Shelton Benjamin is, and he allows him to be that. So and I think AEW is a great career move for him. You know, out of all three of the guys that went there, I think I'm not saying he's the best, but I think he's definitely benefiting.
Yeah, he's probably benefiting the best. Let's talk about the fifth match on the card. TBS Championship up for grabs, as it was Mercedes Moné, the CEO, coming out with 8 expressionless naked men wearing her titles on the aisle, which Taz said was very creative. As Danielson asked if Taz ever tried being a model, which Taz admits is something that he'll try once he retires. Moné kept pie-facing Riho in the matchup until Riho pie-faced her back. She got a series of roll-ups. Both traded submissions until Riho got a sunset flip into a half crab, causing Moné to get to the ropes. Riho then mocked the CEO dance and hit a flush tiger fin kick, as sending Moné to the outside, where Riho hit a huge double stomp off the apron. Riho kindly asked permission of the commentary table to climb on top of the table as she delivered another double stomp. Back inside, Riho delivered a head scissors and a crucifix bomb for a near fall. Moné fought back, smashing Riho face first into the commentary table and then hitting a Meteora off of it, getting her back into the ring for a 2 count. Drop kick right to the throat led to a high stack near fall for Moné, but only got a 2 count. We get the pendulum swing submission, then slamming Riho down in the process. We get dueling chants from the crowd as they were getting into this one a bit after being quiet in the early going. Moné applied a Romero special, which Riho was able to escape and slam Moné's knee down repeatedly into the mat before applying a wild bridging half crab. Moné went to the eyes, but as both were up, Riho hit a La Mystica and then locked on a statement maker of her own. Then you get Moné, who reapplied her statement maker instead. Then you get Riho repositioning. She hits another double stomp for the reset. Both fought up the ropes, where Moné connected with a superplex, hanging on into the Three Amigos. She goes for a frog splash where Riho gets her knees up. Moné misses the charging double knees in the corner, allowing Riho to hit a double stomp for a 2 count. You get Northern Lights blocked by Moné into a lung blower, sunset flip bomb into the ropes, running double knees into the corner once again, but she only gets a 2 count. We get the hair mayors from Moné until Riho dodged a Meteora. We then get Moné got to the ropes though, as Riho went for another bridging half crab. She eventually gets Riho gets a high stack German before hitting a crossbody for a near fall. She goes for another crucifix bomb, but Moné grabbed referee Stefan Smith, giving her a chance to rake the eyes. She then follows up with the lung blower and then hits the moneymaker for the 1-2-3. Mercedes Moné retains the TBS Championship. This was, I hope for a good match, and I got a good match. This was a good match. The crowd was not into it for a majority of the matchup, but I thought they worked really well. I thought the big thing that was working against this matchup is nobody watching at home or watching in Toronto believed that Riho had a shot in any type of reason to win the TBS championship in this matchup. And I think that also kind of took to effect with the heat of the matchup as well. When there's no like really kind of investment into the near falls, it's going to hurt the match overall. Where I think that if there was a better build up for Riho, I think that we would have been into this a lot more with like the near falls down the stretch. But good matchup. I gave it 3 3/4 stars. J News, what did you think?
I thought the matchup was excellent. This is when I texted you yesterday. So for those who, so quick story, I text SP3 yesterday, wondering if my audio, something was wrong with my audio and whatnot, which I still came to find out that there was at the end of the day, because four of my matches felt like the crowd was just not into it and I was missing shit. I had to turn my volume up double what my usual is just to get a real sense of what the crowd was really like.
And I think that's the reason why I was like, we were going back and forth. It's because I was like, "I'm fine to me." I think it was mostly because I had my volume up ridiculously because I had my kids and my missus were out of the house. So I had it blasting. I had people telling me they could hear it from my elevator. So that's why I could hear everything. I was hearing everything fine. That's why I was disagreeing with you. I was like, no,
fair enough. Like I was saying, I thought the match was excellent. I said this during the preview. I'll say it here again. If these ladies rehearse this match, I don't care, because it came off the way it should have came off. Well wrestled, skill levels high. They gave us good counters. They gave us stiff hits, and they gave us the duration that was necessary for a TBS match to go. Now, for the other part of it, completely agree. No story built here. Probably the worst build of all the matches for the whole event. At the end of the day, there was no element of suspense. There was no element of tension. No matter how much they put Mercedes on TV, they didn't oppose her to Rio. Rio didn't really do much on the other end of things. So for the match itself, from a wrestling standpoint, I gave it a 4. But if you're gonna ask me about about how much I was invested in it or whatever the case is, I wasn't invested at all. Which overall takes it down to like a 3.5 star match at the end of the day. It just didn't work in that capacity. And I'll mention this here as well. Now that Rio's done, Mercedes yet again, 3rd match in a row, she skated by to get her win. They're drawing this out. TK in his stubborn ways, I feel like he has someone in mind to take the belt off of Mercedes. I just don't know when he's gonna do it. This boat might sail quicker than he thinks, because, and this has nothing to do with Mercedes and everything to do with Tony Khan, that is.
I just hope he is trying to get the record, and that's why he's dragging this out.
That's another month and a half, right? 25 days at this point.
Yeah,
championship, which is fair.
Right. So I think like full gear, that's the right time to pull the trigger. And I think there's 2 people that are like lined up and haven't done a lot with Mercedes, or have done something or have a story to tell with Mercedes. In like Queen Aminata is someone that's faced her like once.
Sure.
So like it wasn't anything substantial. It was an episode of Dynamite, and she's someone that has built up momentum. To throw in like a dark horse, someone I wasn't keeping in mind, but Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter came ridiculously close to beating her, and it would feel meaningful for her to beat her for the TBS championship, and it'll be her first time winning it. She'll join who won the 4-way later on in the night as holding both of the women's titles. But the main person is Willow Nightingale. I think Willow, as the person who is the only other person besides Tony who owns a victory over Mercedes on the AEW women's division, to tell a full circle story of Willow coming back around almost a year and a half later, nearly 2 years later, to get back the title, win the title, and then have a real reign with the TBS championship. I think that's a story to tell as well.
They have places to go. They definitely have places to go. I thought of it after the match was over, and it was like, this is yet another reset for Mercedes. The story element of it all is she's now getting by the skin of her teeth. But from a competitor standpoint, it's like, all right, now we got to reset. We got to start a new story all over again at the end of the day, if they're going that route with Mercedes. So, I hope that the timing works with the Mercedes storyline. I just hope it doesn't drag on even further than where we've gotten. Because I understand the record thing with the TBS Championship. I totally get that. That's fine. But after that, if this drags on even further after that, it's like, all right, guys, like we're just doing too much now at the end of the day. And yet again, like I'm saying, it has nothing to do with Mercedes, because I think that, I'm a converted fan at this point. I love her work and stuff like that. I just feel like the level of investment will go away the longer the more you prolong this thing with her being the champion of all places.
Professor Kris, what did you think? Mercedes, Riho.
Yeah, I like this match a lot. This is where I came in live on the pay-per-view. The other matches I watched them on replay. But this is where I came in live. And if I had started the show at this point and just watched it from the end, I would have felt I got my money's worth. I really would have. I thought you definitely noticed the crowd waking up, because at the beginning, like you said, they weren't really all that into it, but as the match progressed, you saw them getting into it. And I was a little concerned about Riho going into this match, because the last time I saw her, she just looked out of sorts. Not really like, not like she couldn't wrestle, just she looked like she was kind of getting her bearings back. And I'm glad that this match shows that she got them back. And like you said, I don't think anybody really bought her winning the match just because of the magnitude of who Mercedes is. And Riho has lost a little bit of her luster since being the first women's champion in the company. So, but I was very, very satisfied with this match.
Yeah, definitely delivered. Josh?
I thought the match was pretty good. Even before this, I think there was a lot of people who were like, I don't know, it was kind of weird. They were like very concerned about this match, because people felt like this was probably like going to be the worst match of the card, which was like a little strange. But I mean, ended up being better than people expected it, and that's good. Obviously both ladies are good performers, so I didn't have any doubts on that. I do agree that maybe a little bit more like of close finishes. I think that would have helped. I think that would have elevated the match more a little bit. But overall, I mean, for a match that really had no buildup, it was just Rio showed up to make a save, and then she was given a title shot. That was the story that they were telling. And that's because of her status with the company, basically. It's just one of those things where Rio, obviously she's one of the day ones, but the thing is that, like what Kris was saying too, that I do agree with, where like she's kind of losing that. Part of it is because she's always like in and out. Like we'll see her for a while and then disappear. We'll see her for a while and disappear. In this instance, obviously the injury happened really fast. Like she came back and then she just got injured right away, and then that just took a lot longer because she usually does travel back home. So, but if we see more of her, I mean, that's always a good thing. Every time she's on TV, apparently ratings go up when Rio's on TV. I still think that she's a good asset to have. I still think that she's still important for the women's division to have. But overall, I thought it was a fine matchup. Mercedes is going to be Mercedes. She's going to have the belt for a while. Her haters are probably just going to have to get used to that. She's probably going to win more belts, and when she gets booked, it is what it is. She's one of the best performers in the world. So people just need to get over it.
She just needs a story here in AEW
right now. Yeah,
I think that that's what she really needs, and that's what this TBS title reign needs, because it's been too long since she had like a prolonged rivalry of any kind, and that was with Kris Statlander at the time that Kris Statlander was going through all the bad booking decisions of turning her back babyface and all of that at the same time. So it was a weird time, but that's the only real feud that she's had at TBS Champion outside of challenging for the AEW Women's World Championship. Want to say shout out to someone new in the chat, first time in the chat. They said Kara Cole Alface, who says good evening, first time here. Good to see you in the chat. Join the conversation. I see you already doing that. So join us here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because we also have a super chat donation here from our good brother Michael Allen Lewis. Thank you so much for the support. He says, "Are we ever getting this Renegade faction for Monet?" I mean, like, they did the little tease, I guess, with the Riho matchup on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get some type of follow-up on that on this Wednesday, though.
Yeah, it was I mentioned this on my other podcast earlier. It was interesting because when Riho had her match against Robin Renegade, it was the first time I ever saw Robin Renegade wearing anything with color in it. And I was like, oh, this is a gear change here. Looks a lot like Mercedes-like gear. Where are we going with this? So they might they might be going in that direction. Hopefully, they'll have Mercedes sink her teeth into something that's more tangible for people. Like you said, SP3, like you said, Josh, as well. A bigger story for her to going forward and stuff like that. So that you know, her, not only her reign, but that her character can just be more viable. People can be more invested, and you know, you can just quell the freaking the thoughts of the haters at the end of the day. So it is what it is there.
Absolutely. Then we got next. So I prefaced before. I said before we started talking about this actual show, I was like, there's a turning point matchup on this card, and we're about to hit it. We're about to talk about it. The turning point was the AEW Unified Championship up for grabs as CMLL's own Mascara Dorada challenged Kazuchika Okada for the AEW Unified Championship in a three-way matchup, also featuring Okada's Don Callis family stablemate Konosuke Takeshita. You get Don Callis is on commentary, joining Bryan Danielson, and would basically, I think last night it's confirmed my favorite AEW commentary team of all time is Bryan Danielson and Don Callis. Callis said that he likes the family's odds of retaining the title here, as Dorada used his speed to launch Okada into a Hurricane Rana on Takeshita to start. Double springboard arm drag by Okada. So this match really started off with, like, the crowd was just wanted to see Takeshita versus Okada, because that's what the build has been all about. But Dorada, through every spectacular move he would complete and do flawlessly, he just started getting more and more of the crowd behind him. You get Dorada charged, but Takeshita answered with a flapjack and then a hard corner buckle. You get Okada charged at Dorada, who sidestepped, and Takeshita ate a big boot. As Dorada backflipped off the top into another arm drag, Okada drop-kicked Takeshita out of the corner to the floor. You get, as Dorada took Okada outside with the head scissors, Dorada then tried another Hurricane Rana on Takeshita, who held on and flattened Dorada with a dangerous brainbuster on the ramp. Takeshita then kept working over Dorada's neck in the ring before cracking Okada off the apron with a big boot and then putting a smile on his face. Head scissors from Dorada sent Takeshita outside, where Dorada ramped up for a dive, only for Okada to sweep out the leg. Okada went after the mass of Dorada and basically toying with him until Takeshita came in and went for a face-to-face. So Okada basically goes for the eyes, taking him out once again. We get a sliding drop kick, crack Dorada, who responded with a tornillo arm drag, and then a pop-up drop kick with that sent Okada outside. We get Takeshita took a huge spinning head scissors, sending him back outside, where Dorada hit multiple tornillos onto both sides of the ring, with the crowd getting louder and louder for each one. Okada slid back in, but ate a corner boot, and then a snazzy flipping electric chair neck breaker for a 2. Taking too long to follow up, though, Okada was able to get an air raid crash neck breaker, top rope, zero elevation elbow drop, and then the Rainmaker flip off foes, which stayed flipped off in the face of Takeshita,
who tried for a Blue Thunder Bomb. Okada escaped, but hit a home run, got hit with a home run right hand, and then a Blue Thunder Bomb. Okada dodged a power drive knee as Takeshita ate a thrust kick, and then a flipping destroyer by Dorada for a near fall. Dorada goes up top. He goes for a 450 splash, but Okada pulled him to the floor, slamming Dorada into the barricade. Okada wanted an elbow off the top as both men, both Okada and Takeshita were fighting on the top rope, jockeying for position. You get Dorada who joins them, hits this beautiful, spectacular looking avalanche Hurricane Rana that had the roof blowing off of this place. He gets a pair of near falls. Dorada then pulled both up, charged at them, and gets a double big boot, which got a big pop as you get the close-up, great production shot of Takeshita and Okada standing side by side as they team up for the first time in the matchup. They then stare at each other and then ramp up for some forearm exchanges, which the crowd is going crazy for, as well as Bryan Danielson, who says he has goosebumps. Takeshita put everything behind the home run forearm. Both traded tombstone attempts before Takeshita got the bastard driver into the Casadora German, only for Okada to no-sell it, pop up, hits a beautiful drop kick, then a tombstone. Both men were down. Dorada goes for a moonsault, but Okada moves out the way. He hits a standing moonsault on Takeshita, then a shooting star attempt on Okada, who got his knees up as Takeshita was there to hit a huge power bomb into a power drive knee. Takeshita loaded up for one more on Okada, who blocked it and hit a drop kick right on the button with all three men down. This is awesome chance at this point. We get forearm exchange by everyone as Okada tries for the Rainmaker on Dorada, who ducked, and then Takeshita hits him with a wild double German suplex to both men. Dorada countered a pop-up into a snap Hurricane Rana for a near fall. Okada went to the apron where Dorada connected with the diving DDT, planting him. Dorada was crotched by Takeshita, who hit the highest of superplexes. He held on and goes for the Raging Fire, only for Dorada to go for an inside cradle, but he reverses that into the Raging Fire, only for Okada to slide back in at the right time. He goes for takes out Takeshita with the drop kick, then takes advantage of Dorada being out, hits him with the Rainmaker. 1, 2, 3. Okada retains the AEW Unified Championship and an absolute fantastic matchup. This was on any other night, this is your match of the night. This is your show stealer. But this is not any other night. This is a night full of bangers. But this was the first, on another level. This is a star-making performance by Mascarada Dorada, who was absolutely sensational in this matchup and really kind of made himself a star in AEW, a guy that I'm saying, Tony Khan, you signed him to one of those dual contracts immediately, and they made Okada and Takeshita feel even bigger through this matchup. The way the crowd reacted to it, the way the crowd wanted to see Takeshita get the better of Okada as well. They have a money matchup in the making, and this three-way just elevated, enhanced that even more. Absolutely phenomenal matchup. 4 3/4 stars. One of the best matches of the night, and one of the best three-ways I've seen in AEW in a few months for sure. J News, what did you think?
I said it on the preview. I'll say it here. For me, outside of that main event, goddamn, this was the match of the night, man. And I knew that the lucha stylings was just going to add to it, and it did. And Mascarada Dorada has been doing some amazing, thought-provoking, cringe-inducing shit lately in wrestling matches, both in CMLL and in AEW, man. And he did not miss a beat here. The pure athleticism and wrestling IQ between Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada cannot be denied. Placement is a thing in professional wrestling, folks. Understanding where you need to be and how you need to be there and when you need to be there is just as important as the moves that you do. And these guys are above and beyond some of the best I've ever seen do it in professional wrestling. This match, man, it met my expectations, surpassed my expectations. I'm with you, SP3. Mascarada Dorada needs that dual contract with AEW and CMLL, man. Don't let that dude go anywhere for all intents and purposes. And the build is on. Konosuke Takeshita versus Kazuchika Okada is going to be the money match for 2026. My hope is that we get a big ass match between the two of them in Japan, because that's where it needs to be. It needs to be in Japan.
All right, Paul.
In Japan. All right. I'm not saying it needs to be a New Japan show. I'm just saying it needs to be in Japan. Tony Khan, listen to what I'm saying. It needs to be in Japan. So think about that going forward. Outside of that, terrific match, man. I can't say anything more about this. I mean, this is really telling at this point, right? Because with Takeshita not getting pinned and Dorada getting pinned, and then Takeshita still going face to face with Big Kazu, Takeshi's going to be IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. It's gonna be an even bigger match by the time we get to it. And I don't think we're gonna get to it come Wrestle Dream. We're still gonna.
After watching this matchup, I was like, yeah, this needs to be the Continental Classic final.
Yeah, that or the Continental Classic final. Like I said, that big time match needs to take place in Japan somewhere. The Nippon Budokan or whatever, I don't care, but it needs to take place over there. And yeah, man, fantastic match.
Josh, what did you think?
Oh, it was a great match, man. I loved it. And I like the running joke when it comes to Okada. They're like, what was the meter for Okada in this match of him giving a shit at this match? I would say about a solid 8.5. I thought he did really well himself.
He's had an 8 minimum on his pay-per-view performances since Double or Nothing. The Speedball match, the Kenny matchup, the Swerve match last month, and this is 4 straight where he's been at an 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been really good. It's been really good to see that. But the match itself, I mean, the match was great. And I think this match was just more of a teaser of what we're expecting when it comes to Okada versus Takeshita. So, I mean, that's all that match really did for me, where it was like, all right, let me see how these guys work. And it didn't disappoint. You know why the other guy was there? He was there to take the fall. So, but he did well as well. He was great. So, I mean, there's no complaints about that. So I mean, the layout of it, everything about it, I really enjoyed it. And they've been teasing it. We're gonna end up getting it. It's just a matter of how we get it. It's a matter of when we get it. But man, that matchup is gonna be insane when it finally happens, 1-on-1.
Certainly, Professor Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, I like the match a lot. Originally, when they announced the match, the third guy they left it a mystery guy, so I thought it was going to be something like the Beast Muertos or something, which would have been fine, but not something you announce as a mystery opponent, But I liked Dorada. I thought he did really, really well, and the chemistry between the three men was excellent. Like you said, the Takeshita and Okada is gonna be the match. The middle finger spot cracked me up, and it was just a great storytelling match. And I liked even on commentary, Brian Danielson and what's his name, Cyrus. I always go back, Don Callis. I like them on commentary, like just even the smart comment where Danielson was like, he didn't see that big boot coming because dude said a line like he sees every move coming or whatever, and then he gets kicked in the face. That was just something I noticed. But this was a great match, man. A really, really good match. And again, just by this second match, I was like, okay, this show's already worth my money. They would have to do something really, really horrible to make me feel ripped off by this match,
Yeah,
I was already doing my JBL line. I was like, call the sheriff. The show's been stolen. After that, that was outstanding by all three men there.
Yes.
Michael Allen Lewis saying from what Jay News was saying earlier, TK in the scrum mentioned something about Bandito getting to defend their title in Japan soon. Do you think the announcement will be Grand Slam Tokyo?
Oh man, that is interesting. He said, and I quote, because there's a differentiation, right? SP3, I think we've learned this. There's a difference between huge announcements and important announcements, right?
Right.
I think
Yeah.
Grand Slam Tokyo is a huge announcement at the end of the day. So I think they're gonna leave that if it does come to play, which I hope it does, because that's where Okada versus Takeshita needs to happen at the end of the day. So that's my personal opinion on that. But yeah, man, can't say enough about this goddamn match. Let's go.
There we go. Then you got call me Mr. Bonda saying, since they already have Forbidden Door and Dynasty, that would feel redundant approaching the greatest Royal Rumble territory. No, it wouldn't. Grand Slam doesn't work like a regular pay-per-view. A Grand Slam is basically like NXT TakeOver. That's why you had NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, NXT TakeOver Chicago, NXT TakeOver New Orleans. You have Grand Slam New York. You got Grand Slam Australia. You got Grand Slam Mexico. You got Grand Slam Japan. And it's never a pay-per-view as well. So, yeah, I don't understand this.
So take that into consideration, right? Imagine if they do, hypothetically speaking, announce a Grand Slam Japan. You're going to get Kazuchika Okada and Takeshita on free TV? Put that into my veins, man.
No, I'm good. I want that on pay-per-view.
I feel you.
On pay-per-view.
I agree with you.
I don't want no breaks. I don't want no breaks, and I don't want them knowing they have breaks. Even though I saw Takeshita versus Ospreay without breaks because I watched the Fight TV version of it, and yeah, they didn't act like they were wrestling through a commercial.
No, they didn't.
But yeah, this was, like I said, a turning point matchup because right after this three-way, you go right into a coffin fucking match. Yes, that means that it's time for Jon Moxley defending Jon Moxley going one-on-one with Darby Allin in a coffin match. This is the culmination of their rivalry that has been going on and been persistent over the last year when Jon Moxley defeated Darby Allin for his title shot at the AEW World Championship back at Grand Slam this time last year. And now we have a coffin match. If you thought it was violent for the tables and thumbtacks match, well, the violent meter can go a little bit higher, and it would in this matchup. Immediately right from the start, you knew it was going to be crazy as Darby attacked Jon Moxley during his entrance through the crowd. He quickly scaled an all-out sign and did a coffin drop off of it, just to start the match. Both continued brawling up the steps where Darby hit a drop kick, wrecking his own spine on the steps. Allin remained in control, dragging Moxley to ringside, biting at his fucking ear like he was trying to gnaw at it, eventually busting Jon Moxley open, splitting his ear open in the process. Moxley fought back by sending Allin into the steel steps, throwing a coffin off the table it was set up on before, placing it standing up. That delay, though, allowed Allin to hit a tope suicida through the ropes, causing both men to tumble into the coffin in a tremendous visual. Allin ranked at the face before Moxley desperately went to the eyes to create some distance. Moxley actually begged off for a bit, but it was just a ruse as he countered another Allin dive into a cutter right on the floor. Moxley then hit a front suplex onto the coffin that had Darby's logo drawn on it with a board saying nothing's over till you're underground. Then we get Claudio Castagnoli, Willie Yuta, and Daniel Garcia making their way to ringside, helping Moxley throw a coffin into the ring. As Shafir loosened the bottom rope with a wrench, Moxley sent the troops to the back. That was fast. And even sent Marina to the back as well.
as Darby crawled back to the ring, causing Moxley to slam the door down on the coffin on his hands. Moxley mounted Darby on top of the coffin, pouring down punches, screaming at Darby that he works harder than everyone and how he used to love Darby. Danielson said that Moxley told him the same thing before turning on him last year at All Out, actually. Allen desperately tried to fight back, but did a coffin splash into a rear naked choke. Allen would try to fight back. He would desperately fight to the corner, where he would find a fork hidden in the corner buckle and started brutally stabbing at the busted open ear of Moxley repeatedly, then grabbed his head and starts stabbing at fucking Moxley's head. It immediately splits open after the puncture wounds. He followed that up with a coffin drop off the top rope to the floor. Danielson says that he promised to be objective, but fuck that. Let's go, Darby.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
Excalibur told him swear jar, while Darby hit a coffin drop onto the coffin before trapping Moxley's hands in the coffin, stomping on it. Scorpion death drop followed as Moxley had to pop his fingers back into place, while Allen grabbed a pipe from under the ring. The delay allowed Moxley to grab the fork and try to stab Darby, who gouged at his eyes and got the fork and further brutalized Moxley's ear, biting at it for good measure as well. Moxley fired up out of desperation, bringing Allen on top of the coffin, hitting a Death Rider on top of the coffin. Allen was placed in the coffin. Moxley tried to slam the door, but Allen held the pipe out to stop the door from closing. Darby then started choking Moxley with the lead pipe. They spilled outside where Darby smashed him in the head with the pipe. He then we get Bryan Danielson, who placed a bag near Darby as it was finally time for Danielson to reveal what he whispered to Darby to give Moxley what he deserves. As in the bag was a plastic bag. How this all started at All Out 2024 with the Blackpool Combat Club turning on Bryan. With Danielson telling Darby to give Moxley what he deserves, Allen did just that. He starts choking out Moxley and with the plastic bag, and then eventually gets him down with a code red. Allen proceeded to deliver Danielson-esque stomps to the head, kicking his fucking head in. The fans start chanting, "This is murder!" Moxley was placed into the coffin, but before Darby could close the door shut, we get Pac appearing. He returns, rocking a short haircut. Oh my God, who is that? We get him attacking Darby, hits him with a pump boot, then power bombs Darby from the ring to the outside, landing right on the coffin, causing a nasty thud. He quickly throws him into the ring, where he puts him into the body bag before placing Darby's body in the green body bag into the coffin. Moxley kicks the door shut, closing it. Post-match, you get Moxley, he wins. The Death Riders reappear. They take the coffin and they carry it out like a funeral procession, with Moxley screaming at the fans that he didn't want to do this. It wasn't his fault. He gave me no choice. Danielson was speechless on commentary. As Excalibur said, the Death Riders are more dangerous than ever, as they have just added Daniel Garcia and now add the returning Pac to the group. Just when the Hangman Adam Page saved the AEW World Championship, the company is still in trouble thanks to the Death Riders. There was more with the Death Riders on the show, but we'll talk about that after we give our opinions on this matchup. This was absolutely batshit crazy. It was crazy. It was wild. It was insane. It was bloody. It was violent. It gave me a result I wasn't expecting. I thought Darby would get the win to close out their feud, but there's still more story to tell, apparently. So we get Pac returning and Moxley winning. I like the revamp that they have done with the Death Riders. Like we said before, the Death Riders are a lot more interesting than they were, say, 6 months ago, even now. But this was a win that they needed for Moxley to win to kind of set up the next chapter, hopefully the final chapter of the Death Rider, because I don't think that we need to go into 2026 with the Death Rider still around, but this is kind of like their Empire Strikes Back before the return of the Jedi. Professor Kris, what did you think about Moxley and Darby? I gave the match 4.5 stars. I thought this was splendidly violent.
Yeah, I liked it too. I was my wife around this part asked me if I wanted to order food, and when I found out this was going to be the match, I was like, let's wait a second, because I knew it was Brian, what's his name, Moxley, and Darby. It was a lot, man. It was a lot. The commentary was hilarious. Brian Danielson with the lines, the F him line really set me over. And I think and Brian Danielson promised not to interfere in the match too, but the plastic bag was a good touch, reminiscent of last year. I really enjoyed this match. It was a lot of fun, just entertaining, and I think Danielson on commentary added to it a lot.
Yeah, like he's really putting across.
There was one other thing.
Was a great story beat at the end there. Like he was thinking like, I think I'm gonna have to be the one who steps in to help Darby now.
Right, yeah. And then also at the beginning in the pre-show, him and Renee were going back and forth, talking about their kids don't play with each other anymore, and it's awkward being around them ever since last year. I thought even that little bit in the pre-show added to this match as well, so I wanted to bring that up.
He's Great Garden Second says, forget the haircut. Pac wasn't in gear. Yes, as well. That was the biggest surprise, even more than the haircut. Josh, what did you think about the Coffin match?
I mean, it was insane. Darby's always gonna be Darby at this point. I was surprised with the who won, because I really thought Darby was gonna win. I thought this was kind of like a way of having a coffin match where Mox will still look strong because he's not technically being pinned. So I was a little surprised with that, but with Pac coming back, kind of made sense. He looked weird with short hair, like I don't know. He kind of looked. I don't know. He kind of looked like a movie villain or something. And he was wearing clothes, so it was kind of weird seeing him with clothes on. But it was cool seeing him. I mean, hopefully he stays healthy. But overall, fun matchup. Both guys, Mox and Darby, top-notch chemistry. I just don't know where it goes from here when it comes to when Darby ever's going. When is he ever going to win? Don't drag this out like Tommy Dreamer and Raven.
Yeah, they have to figure out what they want to culminate the Darby and Moxley feud off with, because this is now he's 0-4 against Moxley. This feud is eventually going to end, and it's going to end with Darby beating him. But what type of matchup now is that going to be? Jay News, what did you think about the Coffin match?
It was violent, man. It was violent. This is violence. This is AEW style of violence compared with the thumbtacks and tables match and everything else in between. It's two different shades of red, if you want to call it that, right? And yeah, man, Darby's just a freaking he's the definition of a sicko, right? That's Darby Allin. Darby Allin's the definition of a sicko. And all props due to Jon Moxley for agreeing to do this match and agreeing to do the backstage spot as well, because that was even crazier. Because it's one thing for Jack and Darby to set themselves on fire, But for John Moxley to agree to be in that body bag, to me, was like beyond me. But anyways, to mention one other thing, we got Pac to come back in this match. Now I want to point this out because Pac is he's a big history buff at the end of the day. The haircut and everything else in between. The King of the Bastards has returned. He is in his Julius Caesar era, ladies and gentlemen. I want you guys to take that into consideration. The King of the Bastards has returned, and now he's wearing clothes, so he's going to be able to sneak up on everyone every time he's in an arena. So that to me was it's cool to see him back. Like Josh said, at the end of the day, the hope is that he stays healthy. At the end of the day, that's been the biggest thing his entire career. When he's on a roll, something happens, and I just want him to stay healthy. And I want him to keep on having banger matches. There's just so many different matches he hasn't even had yet on AEW TV. So now with the Death Riders thing going where it's going, I think that folks also need to pay attention to Darby needs to beat Mox. Danny needs to beat Mox. Who beats Mox first? Or do they beat Mox at the same time? Who knows? Who knows?
No, that doesn't make any sense. Each of them need to get singles wins. It's not at the same time.
Who knows? Who knows? I'm just saying.
We got well, we did get more. This was J News talking about the headline before we even talk about the story. But backstage later on in the show, we see the Death Riders are still carrying the casket. They put it down. Moxley sends the Death Riders off in their pickup truck. He goes and he looks like he might be thinking about setting the coffin on fire. He opens the coffin and Darby's alive. Darby's awake. He starts blasting him with the pipe, with the lead pipe. And then he puts him in the body bag. He pours gasoline on it and then sprays it, setting it on fire. Jesus Christ. I don't know if you needed to do this.
Yeah, that's a little much.
I think this took away a little bit from the ending of the Coffin matchup. The ending of the Coffin match was like that despair feeling that we had last year at All Out when Moxley and the Death Riders were born, when they attacked Bryan Danielson. That feeling of despair that we had when the Death Riders when Moxley beat Bryan at last year's Wrestle Dream. You had that kind of feeling at the ending, and then they just threw it away with the fire angle when I didn't really think you needed that. But it does set up whatever the next chapter is, so I guess. J News, any other comments on that part?
I would posit that I disagree with you. To be quite honest, in this case, was the fire necessary? No. I think what they were going for was more of the Darby Allin doesn't die and Darby Allin wasn't dead type part. Which is why I brought up. I don't know why John agreed to be set on fire necessarily, but it happened. And he obviously waited for the Death Riders to go off into the sunset, quote unquote, as they drove off, and they left John there by himself. Never leave that man by himself anymore, guys.
That just means John looked dumb. That's twice he did that in this one show. Twice he sent them away, and then actually didn't need their help.
You know, so it every time Darby gets him by himself, something bad happens to John. Remember the hit with the chloroform in the napkin shit, or whatever the case is. Every time he gets him by himself, it's all up for grabs at the end of the day. But yeah, I thought the fire was a bit much, but I thought what they did to give people that feel, you know, Darby's not dead, nothing's killing Darby Allin. I think that was really more of what they were trying to go for. But when the fire came, I was like, we're doing a bit much now.
Kris, what did you think about the Darby setting Moxley on fire?
It was absolutely ridiculous. It was so cartoonish. Like, it went from reminding me of like kind of like a Batman Joker situation in like one of the serious comic books to like Bugs Bunny versus Yosemite Sam or something like that. It was stupid, man. I didn't like it at all. I get what Jay News is saying, but I have to be able to suspend my disbelief when I watch this shit. It was a flex to do it during that match, but I was able to do it with the story they were telling. But this setting people on, I don't know, man. It just didn't do it for me at all. But
it's just a little too much, a little overboard. Josh, any thoughts on the fire spot?
I mean, I kind of liked it. I mean, I am a sicko, so. I mean, I thought it was just more funny than anything because it was just like random, and I was like, "What the fuck? This is murder!" Like,
I did laugh. I did that, yeah.
Like, it's attempted murder. What the fuck? And I could see both sides of it. I could kind of see how they kind of wanted to make Darby look strong in the sense of at least he did something in the loss because he lost again to Mox. I kind of get it. But when it comes to the fire spot, I mean, me personally, I'm not setting nobody on fire. I'll go to prison for life, so I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, I was highly entertained.
Also fair. Then you get the conglomeration is backstage. They're talking about everyone picking up wins tonight. Mark Briscoe still got thumbtacks coming out of spitting it out of his mouth. Mark Briscoe said that it's time to look forward. And another man who has been a thorn in his ass, and Harley Cameron pulls a tack out of his ass as Briscoe challenged Don Callis to find 3 of his guys. And he says that he can face the conglomeration getting back together, baby. He says he's going to be teaming up with Kyle O'Reilly and a partner of their choosing. And Harley asks who that partner would be. Mark says that Kyle is actually on the phone with him right now. And he asks if he's ready to come back. And O'Reilly responds, whatever. The conglomeration all tease, putting their thumbs up before Roderick Strong walks off less than enthused, while Harley Cameron was left being, well, Harley Cameron. They never mentioned him by name, but it's safe to say that Orange Cassidy is returning on AEW Dynamite this week as we have a big trios matchup of the Don Callis family, Hechicero, Kazuchika Okada, and Konosuke Takeshita teaming up to face Mark Briscoe, Hologram, and their mystery partner. Big addition, and an addition that they need, getting the likes of your Eddie Kingstons, your Orange Cassidys is a big boost to AEW at a time that they have lost guys like Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, and Kenny Omega. So any comments on this short segment? Anybody can go, whoever wants to talk.
I thought it was cool. It was either Orange Cassidy or Rob Van Dam, and of course it's not going to be Rob Van Dam. So looking forward to Wednesday.
Yeah, same here. I'm looking forward to Wednesday, man. OC coming back is another good return for AEW and stuff like that. So yeah.
Good stuff. Any thoughts, Josh? No? Okay. We got AEW Women's World Championship up for grabs. Timeless Toni Storm defending against Kris Statlander, Jamie Hayter, and Tekla. All 4 women got good responses from the Toronto crowd. Statlander has new gear and new theme, which kind of was foreshadowing. That will take me a while to get used to. I thought her old theme was great. Wheeler Yuta showed up to try to give her some last-minute advice before getting lost, and we are probably positive at this point, after what would happen in this matchup, it was to use the seatbelt pin again, as she got a win in a multi-woman matchup a couple of weeks ago on Collision. You get all 4 women right off the bat. They're fighting with one another. Statlander got in control early, tried a dive, but Tekla blasted her on the apron with a big boot. Storm flew in with a hip attack, while Statlander took out Hayter with a swinging shooting star off the apron. Storm came in and hit Statlander with a tornado DDT. Finally, Tekla flipped off the camera shot onto the pile. Tekla then brought Hayter into the ring and started whipping her with her belt. Storm suffered the same fate. Hayter started choking Tekla out with the handkerchief that she wore to the ring, but Tekla answered with a home run forearm shot. Statlander dodged 3 corner attacks before Tekla found herself in the tree of woe, which is where she gets a power boost, apparently, as she delivered 3 consecutive spider superplex in that position, hitting the spider pose every time. Then she eventually hits the regular walking spider pose. Tekla didn't see Storm appear, though, as Storm pulls up and says, "I hate bugs," and stomps her right in the box. As Taz says, the yam bag region. Hayter powered up with some exploders aplenty before hitting a double suplex on Statlander and Storm. Tekla and Hayter start cracking each other with forearms while Storm and Statlander get involved with some high kicks. Sky high from Storm on Tekla as Statlander flew in with the rolling cutter and Hayter threw up a home run lariat as the crowd was really into the matchup at this point. All 4 rose to their feet, where Tekla was mowed down with a triple boot. Statlander was clotheslined to the outside by Storm and Hayter, and we finally got the showdown of Storm and Hayter, the career rivals. But Tekla shot blocked Hayter, trapping both ladies' heads between her legs. Tekla tried the head scissors in the ropes, but Statlander caught Tekla into the Saturday Night Fever on the floor. Back inside, Storm delivered Sweet Cheeks music and a Storm Zero to Statlander, only for Hayter to break it up. This finally got us to Storm and Hayter trading bombs with one another and then hitting some big moves. They trade finisher attempts until Hayter hits the Hate Breaker and the Haterade, but Tekla breaks up the cover. We get a neck crank stranglehold by Tekla onto Storm, who just made it to the ropes, but referee Aubrey reminded Storm that there's no rope breaks in a 4-way. Tekla was pulled to the apron by Hayter, where Tekla hits a wild spear to the floor. Back inside, you get Statlander, who gets the seatbelt pin, traps the leg, gets a 1-2-3 out of nowhere on Toni Storm. The crowd, who were kind of in and out throughout this matchup, popped huge for this surprise win, as Statlander is your new AEW Women's World Champion, becoming the first woman to hold the TBS Championship and AEW Women's World title in company history. Statlander gets tons of pyro for her celebration. Timeless Toni Storm is in complete shock. She sits in the ring in absolute disbelief. She's looking at Hayter like she has basically become catatonic. Like she doesn't even know where she's at anymore. She has of confusion. Then she has looks of like bewilderment, but laughter at the same time. The camera focusing on her was great. You get Harley Cameron up here. She sprinted out to celebrate with Statlander, as Stat is your new champion. I thought this was a really good matchup. The crowd were relatively into it from the start, and they got out of it throughout the matchup. But I thought all 4 ladies worked really hard here. I thought they kept a good pace. It was kind of all thriller, no filler. They kept the action moving. We got some 4-way spots. We got some spots where everybody was highlighted. Tekla looked good coming out of this. Hayter looked good. The fans were really into Hayter versus Storm. Storm is an absolute megastar and a made woman in this company. Statlander getting the win here. I would have liked it to go down in like a singles matchup where the story is more focused on her. But as far as like a surprise finish at the end of a good matchup, I can't complain that much about this one. So I give it 3 3/4 stars. Josh, what did you think?
I thought the match was solid. There was people who liked the match, and there was people who really didn't like the match. I think probably it had to do with the crowd reaction, which I thought it was kind of an issue all night. But when I was seeing like fan videos and clips, it seemed like it was a lot louder. So I don't know if it was like an audio thing. Sometimes I heard the crowd, and sometimes it was kind of like, oh, what's going on?
So it wasn't just me. Okay.
But it could have been, the shit that because I mean I was watching it from the laptop, so because I usually order from Prime, and usually when I order from Prime on TV is usually fine, but they tend to have that issues with AEW anyway, where it was like a mic issue. Because I know Grand Slam had that type of issue when we used to for Arthur Ashe, but I thought the match was solid. I thought the match was better than some people are giving credit for. And then the win, I mean, surprised as fuck because I had Tony retaining. But I'm actually not mad at it. I'm not mad that Stat won. And obviously, I think this is probably going to be a way of her probably just turning full heel because, the infinite, she's already connected to the Death Riders and they still, implementing that stuff. Her finally win. I think it was a long time coming. And I think it was one of those things where Stat that, where she had two major knee injuries, so it's kind of one of those things where you want to see how that goes before committing to somebody being injured, right? And I think that Hayter's in the same situation where everybody wants her to be champion again, but health, staying healthy has been the biggest factor. She came back this year and then she got injured again, so it's one of those things where it's like you can't really, as a company. You want certain people to be champion, but then also as a company, you also have to realize that there's some people who are just, when they get injured, that's why they get to the position that they're at. So to see Stat come from that, working her way the way that she's been working to finally happen now, regardless of if she had to wait long, I think it was a long time coming. And then the fact that she's even with the first woman to hold the TBS and the AEW Women's Championship, that's cool. She's worked hard, and I'm happy to see that. And then I think Timeless Tony, I think she really did her part when it comes to the reaction, where she was shocked that she kept it looked like she was smiling at the same time. Then she was down, and then she looked like she was smiling again. It was kind of one of those things where I thought she elevated that moment, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Let's also not forget to mention SP3 was right. I was the only one who predicted that Statlander was going to win this matchup.
But it's funny. On the flip side, remember I picked Valkyrie for the other one, so it's kind of we're even. I think Chrissy ended up.
Well, no, I'm talking about in general, the preview and the
both the preview and
because on the preview for WrestlePalooza, Maggie did predict Stephanie Vaquer to win, but that was kind of up in the air. I saw nobody picking Statlander to win this one.
Oh, nobody. I didn't pick her. Yeah.
Surprised.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm actually, I'm not mad that she won at all because, like I said, she's super talented. When she's given what she's given, she makes, she tries her best, and I think, all that hard work is paying off. She's finally champion. But it's always about what happens after you're champion. Where did this go? So, I mean, I hope she has a good reign. I hope it's not one of those kind of transitional things where it's she had her, we're giving her the title, we'll just give it to her, and then, put it back on. I don't want to see that. I think she should have a lengthy reign to make it mean something. So I really hope that happens.
Yeah, I hope so. Her TBS title run was a surprise as well. She came back from injury, and that turned out to go really well for her. I hope she can repeat that success with this title run. Professor Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, so this match had me on a kind of a roller coaster of emotions. When the match first started, I was like, it's a multi-woman match. I wasn't really thinking much of it. And then it picked me up at certain parts in the match. And then when Statlander won, I was upset at first, but then I kind of had a chance to sit with it and think about it. And then I was like, oh, I actually like this a little bit. Because one, is the second pay-per-view in a row where a team or a person has lost in a multi-person match. So that was cool. And then also Timeless Tony Storm on television this is a match she asked for. You know, she said she wanted to fight all these women, and she got it, and she lost. You know, it was kind of like a poetic justice kind of thing, and her facial expressions at the end of the match just made it that much more appealing for me. So I'm amused. I definitely think this is a good teaser going into Wednesday, because I definitely want to watch on Wednesday solely based off the strength of this match. Other things, but this match definitely makes me want to see what happens next on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they follow up from this, because now they have to put the focus on Stat in her story that she has going on with the Death Riders right now. MCAT says, SP3, curious, has the women's title changed hands on each four-way match? I think so. He says Saray, which was All In 2023, Tony, which was All Out 2022, and Stat last night, they all won. I'm pretty sure there was one more four-way that did not have a title change, but like that's three examples of it happening. So I know there was someone in the chat, I think it was the homie Dion, who says, I think that Tony should have won here, then lost to Stat one-on-one, since Tony took the pin anyway. I actually prefer it this way. I prefer, if a champion's going to put their title on the line in a four-way, 9 times out of 10 to create the four-way matchup or multi-challenger matchup, to create that type of kind of the title change can happen, or it's more likely to happen in a multi-man matchup. You have to have these title chains like this. Like, that's why it made sense. That's why when we did the predictions, I was saying Kris Statlander, because I listened to Toni Storm's promo, and her promo on Wednesday was like, I'm losing. I'm looking for my murder. I need someone to murder me. I need someone to take this title from me. That's basically what she said in a nutshell. So I was like, yeah, she's probably going to lose it here.
And then also, I mean, you know, like to your point, you know, I did like the fact that she was when I got pinned, just because, you know, sometimes when it comes to like triple threat matches or fatal four-way matches, usually the idea is, oh, we're gonna get the title off of this person, but we're gonna make them look strong because they're not pinned. You know, so I do like the fact that they did something a little bit different. And, you know, she was one that was pinned, but then also, you know, she basically got rolled up. So it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like she won, like, you know, it was like definite, but it was one of those things where how Tony has been winning sometimes, it kind of used it against her this time. So I did like that aspect of it.
And he's good doer is absolutely right. Stat has like so many money matchups as champion, because there's her and Tony, which is a fresh matchup. There's her and Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne's beaten her in singles matchup, non-title. There's her and there's like her in like the whole like women's division is pretty much open to her, but the main one is Mercedes Moné. Now you put back Mercedes into the main title picture because she owns 2 victories over Statlander. And then there's also, of course, the bigger one, which is Willow Nightingale, who I think will eventually be the one to dethrone Statlander for the title. Or in a perfect world, if Tony Khan is thinking properly, that's who you would want to dethrone Kris Statlander when the time is right. But we shall see. Let's talk about the semi-main event of the show for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Brodido, Brody King, and Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito defending against the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Don Callis families, Josh Alexander and Hechicero, and Jet Speed, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Kevin the Jet Knight. This was absolute chaos and carnage and wild bumps the entire stretch of the way. You got the Young Bucks, who had a lot of pyro, of course, using their money up. We get Nick also gave Justin Roberts some money for making up for super kicking him a few weeks back. We get a rolling cannonball and a diving knee from Alexander on Night Early. Bandito was popped up into the Mad Science Bomb by Hechicero. Jet Speed hit double dives on the Callis family while they grabbed the ladder, as did Brodido. Jet Speed tossed theirs aside and drop kicked the ladder into Brodito's face. until the Young Bucks appeared to wipe out both teams, including a Cazadora cutter on Bandito. We get double arm drag by Bandito in response. An X knee caught Matt, who avoided the 21 plex. Everyone grabbed waist locks until King hit a triple German suplex on 3 men. Going outside for a ladder, Matt hit a baseball slide to King, while Nick followed up with the tornillo. Knight took out the Bucks with a springboard dive. Then Bandito flew in with a dive of his own. Bailey superkicked Bandito back into a ladder held by King, who didn't want to drop on his partner, giving Bailey a chance to hit a moonsault onto the ladder bridge. Bailey was cut off in the ring by Alexander and Hechicero, who hit a massive Beal on Alexander onto a ladder. We get King violently backdrop Alexander onto a ladder, trying a cannonball on Hechicero, who moved, causing Brody to crash and burn. Bandito then grabbed Hechicero, gets a gorilla press into a corner ladder bridge. The Bucks hit sunset flip, a German suplex onto the ladder on Bandito. Then we get Bailey trapped in a in a Nick Jackson head scissors in the corner. Matt hit a super kick and then a ladder shot to the midsection, held on a ladder bridge, and Nick delivered a senton atomical on top of Bailey on the ladder bridge. Knight came in with a springboard dropkick and then leaped off for a crossbody. The Bucks and the Callis family joined forces with each other, but all were mowed down by King and a ladder. King wanted to dive, but ran face first into a ladder by the Bucks and the Callis family. With King on a ladder bridge, we get Nick, who hits a slanton onto the ladder bridge onto Brody. The Bucks tried quickly scaling up a ladder as the Don Callis family were setting up for dives on the outside, but they came in to stop them, causing an end to their partnership. We get a super kick party led to the Bucks ramming the ladder into Hechicero and Alexander. Jet Speed hurled the ladder, trapping the Bucks underneath as Knight hit a huge splash onto top of them. Jet Speed set up a ladder, but Brodido cut them off, leaving Bandito all alone to climb. Knight hit a springboard clothesline to cut him off, though, as Bailey hit a acai moonsault onto a pile of stars on the outside. We get Alexander, who gets an ankle lock on Bailey on a ladder bridge. We get the Bucks were stacking up stacked tables while Alexander and Bailey, the two Canadians, were slugging it out until Hechicero made the save with a surfboard onto the ladder bridge. Bailey got up. He tried a moonsault double knees, but he just barely caught like the forehead of Hechicero, fucking up his knees on the ladder bridge, while it looked like Hechicero's fingers were caught inside the ladder. Just a wild spot all around. Bandito and Alexander fought up the ladder, where Bandito could have grabbed the titles, and Bryan Danielson was screaming desperately that he could have. He opted for a sunset flip powerbomb onto the ladder bridge. Bandito rolled to the apron, where Matt flew in with the See You in Hell DDT. Matt, Nick, and Knight all hit stereo splashes off the top rope through tables at ringside until Brody King brought out Speedball and hits him with the Gonzo Bomb through a ladder bridge between the steps and the apron. Crazy spot. We get Knight climb the ladder as the Bucks and the Callis family literally lifted the ladder up and sent Knight crashing with the Bubba Ray off the ladder spot through two tables at ringside. Brodido were low blowed as Alexander went to climb, but the Bucks wiped out Hechicero with the super kick, hit Alexander with the BTE trigger. Brody cuts off the Bucks from climbing, handed Bandito a ladder as he moonsaults off the ring post onto the Don Callis family. King then wipes out the Bucks with a tope. Brodido is left alone. He climbs the ladder, grabs the titles. Brodido gets the win as Bandito grabs the titles for his team, successfully defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships in an absolute banger. This was crazy. This was nuts. This was bonkers. Everything a multi-team multi-team ladder match should be. This was it. All action, all thriller, no filler. Awesome match. 4.5 stars. But post-match, we got a 5-star angle on this show as well.
as you get the Young Bucks are left in the ring all alone. We get Jack Perry after weeks and weeks on BTE of teasing Jack Perry's return. Jack Perry appears from the crowd in the ring. He stares down with his former elite stablemates, the Young Bucks, before shooting a double leg on both Matt and Nick, attacking both of his former friends. Rocky Romero appeared for some reason. He ate a DDT for his troubles. The distraction allowed the Bucks to crack Jack with a super kick. They were about to hit the BTE trigger until Jack sported his famous smile. The lights go out, and when the lights go back on, the video wall is on, and footage of Perry digging in the desert, pulling a coffin out of the ground, hooking the coffin to the back of his short bus, driving the short bus to a lair where he loaded a body to a bed, get it back to health, brought it back to life. Yes, Jack Perry was the man who brought Luchasaurus back to AEW. Lights come back on. Luchasaurus is in the ring. He choke slams the Bucks. You get Luchasaurus staring down with Jack Perry, but he is still wearing that kill switch belt. Perry pointed to the kill switch belt. Luchasaurus takes it off, throws it into the crowd. Perry and Luchasaurus embrace. They hug. The crowd pops one time for that. Then they pop even louder for Tarzan Boy. I was going crazy in my crib. We were blasting this. This was such a great moment. This was a better moment. I'll say it. I'll cause the tribalistic people to comment, being like, you guys are so unfair. You love AEW, you hate WWE. This moment was better than any moment on WrestlePalooza. I said it. This was awesome. This was a healing moment as the AEW fans finally forgave Jack Perry for CM Punk getting fired. This was a moment unlike anything. It felt like healing had been done between Perry and the fans. Great moment, and it got Perry where he should be, which is back with Luchasaurus in Jurassic Express. So, Professor Kris, what did you think about the ladder match and the moment with the Jurassic Express reunion?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. Jack Perry was the guy I was talking about too. I was kind of like, I think the heel turn for a wrestler is where you get the chance to show your charisma and what you're made of. And I just don't think that heel turn for Jack Perry did much for him, you know. And I was actually a little surprised by that because I thought it would give him a chance to show his personality. So him coming out after the match, and the match was fine. I liked the match too, but you know, I'm more intrigued by this. Him coming out after the match and them about to give him the BTE trigger, and all of a sudden the screen shows and Luchasaurus comes back and all that. I thought it was cool. I don't know what this means for Jack Perry's upward mobility, but I think this is a safe space for him. You know, I kind of think this is a do no harm position for him. Like, maybe you're not going to get to the next level, but you're not going to sink to the bottom with this. Only thing I wish was the third guy that I forget his name, the little guy that they used to have with them. Wish he came back too, but you know, it was fine.
That definitely wasn't going to happen. Marco Stunt is retired. Jay News.
Yeah. Marco Stunt, thank you.
Jay News, what did you think?
Quick bit, shout out to Kris Statlander for winning her very first AEW Women's Championship. I just wanted to say that. And upon this match, I expected crazy. I got crazy. The spots were big. The spots were big time car crashes by majority. I thought that, as we stated in the preview, Josh Alexander and Hechicero were great bases for a lot of what was going on in the matches themselves. The Jet did Jet things as I expected him to do, so that was cool to see. Brody and Bandito did the damn thing, man. They retained the championships. But to talk about the post match here, it's interesting to see how much love the fans, AEW fans specifically, have for Jurassic Express, right? No one ever seemed to have wanted Jungle Jack Perry to go heel, right? But I think the opportunity presented itself. They wanted to see if they can delve deeper into Jack's personality, so they pulled the trigger with the whole CM Punk video thing or whatever the case is. It started off well, but then it hit a precipitous drop not too far afterwards. I felt for Jack because I felt like a lot of it had to do with booking and people not necessarily. The character just didn't. The character also just didn't jive with folks at the end of the day. So there's that part of it. But this return, people saw it weeks ago with the whole when Luchasaurus first came back to the patriarchy thing when the video where he woke up and everybody was thinking, oh, it was Jack who put the needle in Luchasaurus and stuff. And that's Jack's hand. And I was like, everybody was right. It's Jack's hand. I also said that during the preview that we would get the reunited the boy and his dinosaur, and we got it at the end of the day. The tag team division is stacked. This is the point that I wanted to get to. The tag team division is stacked. After this match with Brodido retaining their championships, this also resets the tag team division, meaning new teams are going to be able to step up to the plate against Brodido. So we'll get the likes of a Jurassic Express. This past week, we saw the official AEW All Elite photos go up of GYV on the website at the end of the day. We might see GYV finally go off against Brodido and stuff like that. Maybe they get we might see the Bucks in a regular tag match versus Brodido. We might not. Who knows? At the end of the day, because I feel like we're gonna do the whole feud between the Bucks and Jurassic Express to eventually get to a tag title match. And yeah, other tag teams as well that haven't gotten a big spotlight in recent months will be up for a chance to get, and the really new reunited Acclaimed at the end of the day. There's them too. So, there's definitely a lot of teams for Brodido to be going up against. So I wanted to bring that up as well. But I thought that the end of the post-match angle was great. I've always liked Jack Perry. I think he's a talented dude in the ring. He's got time too, man. He's a young guy when it comes to character stuff. So, and I want them to do like the Professor Hulk thing with Luchasaurus at the end of the day. I think it would be funny, So, let's see where it goes. But definitely still waiting to tune in for Wednesday because there's so much stuff that they can build upon based on what happened at All Out.
Yeah, because there's a lot of unfinished business with the way that he left the patriarchy when Nick Wayne is healthy. You could do them to Jurassic Express versus the patriarchy with his unfinished business with Christian. You could do Cope and Christian versus Jurassic Express. Right. You can run back a whole bunch of matches that you haven't done in like 4 or 5 years, like Jurassic Express versus FTR. But we're gonna get Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks, which should also be a great matchup. So yeah, this is the AEW Tag Team Division. It was very much helped out by that tag team tournament they did ahead of Forbidden Door. That got the wheels going, and then All Out was like the latest step where we got another returning team that's already to go along with the whole story they're telling with Caster and Bowens, bringing back the Acclaimed. There's still a bunch of people on the injured reserve. We can get a conglomeration tag team in there with Orange Cassidy coming back. They're really bolstering stuff up, like the underneath parts. They're bringing people up in the main event scene to fill in some gaps, but they're also filling the gaps from those people by bringing some people back in. Dustin says Jack Perry booking of the TNT title didn't elevate him. They made a lot of bad steps with Jack Perry's heel run. I think that first it was based on the firing of CM Punk, which was always a bad place to start. Secondly, he shouldn't have been in the Elite. If he's going to be this anti-authority scapegoat, he can't join the EVPs in the top heel faction. I get the idea you wanted to position him in the top heel faction so he can kind of get the rub and get elevated because of it, but that didn't that wasn't what resulted in that. It just kind of kept him at that position, and there was a conflict in what his character was trying to get across. So they messed it up from the very beginning. People tend to forget he was heel before CM Punk, and that was even worse. You want to, if for other people who complain about scapegoat Jack Perry, trust me, just turn Jack Perry feuding with Hook was fucking awful. That sucked. Yeah,
that's what I was saying. It's like the heel turn didn't do anything for this guy. It just. I thought usually with certain guys, it'll give you another layer of personality, like Shawn Michaels or like Booker T. Christian, but it just never hit that level for Jack Perry.
Just didn't work.
Yeah.
Straight up. All right, but that was all that left was the main event. Wait, did we go to you, Josh? Get your thoughts on the ladder match and Jurassic Express return. I'm sorry.
Hell no, you almost forgot me. The fuck?
I'm sorry.
Hey, man, at least you got to tell him off. I didn't say shit when he skipped me for the fucking women's.
Well, you had your chance. You brought up Kris, but you didn't talk about the matchup. I apologize.
See, look at that. He's literally making me the scapegoat. Oh no, no.
That works.
No, the match was great. They're doing insane shit. There was a few times I thought Speedball and fucking Brody died. I'm glad they're okay, but man, that was insane. And the follow-up segment. Oh my god, I've always liked Jurassic Express. I know like their gimmick is not for everybody, super white meat baby face kind of is tag team. I get it, but this feels right. It feels like these, not only for Luchasaurus, Luchasaurus, what happened to him, he could have died. So the fact that he's even back, I think that's incredible. And then Jack, I think he's talented. Jack is very talented. It's just, opportunity and, where they went with his heel turn and heel run, it should have been better. There's ideas that I thought they should have gone with, where he should have leaned more into like the Hollywood-ish kind of character, I felt. Even kind of like he could have been like a Johnny Cage-ish kind of character too. That would have been kind of cool. Whereas, being arrogant, being from Hollywood, being arrogant, they should have gone that route. But this just feels right. And, the way they played it off and the way they did it, I thought it was right. And then I didn't expect for them to play the theme song, because I thought like this would kind of go like a different, because even though they're back together, it does feel different. Like it does feel like more of like a mature kind of thing, if that makes any sense. Where it looks like Jack grew up, and he's not going back to being Jungle Boy. So the fact that they even played the song, I was surprised by that. But then the fans got super excited. You saw how excited they got, and they started doing everything. So I mean, when it comes to that, I think this is the right move for both of them, and I thought it was nicely done, really nicely done.
And they were separated long enough too, so. Yeah. It wasn't like yesterday and today they're putting them back together, so.
Look at that. It was 3 years ago they broke up. It was at All Out 2022.
Yeah. So
there we go. Full circle moment again. And talking about full circle moments, back at All Out 2019, Hangman Adam Page came up short in the first ever AEW World Title match in the main event of that show. And 6 years later, he is back in the main event. This time, Hangman Adam Page is the champion, defending in the main event against TNT champion Kyle Fletcher.
Despite not being allowed at actual ringside, Don Callis is on commentary for this matchup. Big fight feel for this matchup, despite being here for a near 6-hour show, including the pre-show. This crowd was into this matchup and ready for it. There's different lighting for the first few moments of the matchup, as that would have taken a while to get used to. So thankfully, it just went back to the normal soon after. Regardless, we get an even back and forth feeling out process as both men start trading hard chops and forearms, with Fletcher missing a corner kick, allowing Paige to connect with the springboard lariat. We get Fletcher sidestepped a slingshot dive and PK'd Paige right in the face. Fletcher then sent Paige over the barricade, where it looked like he went for a crossbody, but Paige was able to counter it into a power slam. We get a wrist clutch lariat by Paige. Back inside, got a near fall. Then he goes for the Orihara moonsault, but Fletcher shoved him off, crashing down, hitting the barricade. Fletcher remained in control back inside. He started targeting the neck as keeping Paige grounded. He then hits him as Paige, the lay allows Paige to try for a buckshot lariat, but Fletcher cuts him off. He then hits him with a hanging DDT, right planting him Randy Orton style and getting a near fall for it. He then hits this crazy looking rotating Michinoku driver for another near fall, attacking the neck. The story of this match is simple. After Paige went through the table on Dynamite with the sheer drop brainbuster, he had the cohesive tape on his neck, and that was the target of everything that Fletcher did in this damn matchup. Fletcher continued to zone in on the neck. He got a lion tamer submission until Paige got to the ropes. Fletcher connected with the flying corner kick before Paige was able to turn things around. He hits him as he goes for a third straight corner kick. Paige turns him inside out with a lariat. Paige ducked a lariat into a high back body drop as Fletcher ran right into a fallaway slam. Paige kips up, clutches his neck, only to hit another fallaway slam into the corner this time. Fletcher was sent over the top rope with a clothesline. Then we get the successful slingshot crossbody and a Orihara moonsault for Paige to be in firm control. Quickly back in the ring, Paige hits 2 pop-up power bombs for a near fall. Fletcher avoided a dead eye as Paige wanted a moonsault tombstone, which Fletcher escaped initially as Paige went for it again. But Fletcher was able to reverse yet again. He hits a super kick mid backflip on Paige, catching him beautifully. Probably the smoothest I've seen that move done since Cole versus Ricochet. It was just so smooth. He then hits him with a sit-out Liger bomb for a 2 count. Fletcher starts ripping off Paige's initiative tape on his neck. But Paige fought back, delivering a Hangman's DDT off the apron outside the ring. So now Fletcher has an injured neck. So it was like a neck for a neck, basically. Paige went for another Orihara moonsault, but Fletcher is able to move out the way. Fletcher then hits him with a charging running haluva kick, then sets up a chair near the table at the timekeeper's area and hits a crazy looking sheer drop brainbuster off the chair through the table at the timekeeper's area. Back inside, Fletcher hits a flying corner boot to the back of the neck, another one fletched to the face, before spiking Paige with the sheer drop brainbuster, his finisher. 1, 2, Paige kicks out. This is how you know the build to the matchup has worked on the fans live in the building, as soon as he gets the near fall, fans start loudly chanting, "You're not ready. You're not ready," which pissed us off beyond belief, reminding us you wouldn't be in this position if you weren't ready. So Brian has to explain to him it means mentally not ready. Both men trade thrust kicks until Fletcher hits a big boot, flying leg lariat that sent Paige to the apron, where there's a table that was set up earlier by Fletcher. Danielson agreed with Callis that Paige is getting manhandled in the matchup at this point.
Fletcher wants another brainbuster off the apron, but Page is able to float over. He spins out, hits a dead eye off the apron through the table at ringside as Fletcher goes headfirst through the table and then lands headfirst onto the floor. That spot was ridiculous. Fletcher is basically out of it. He's out on his feet when he gets back into the ring. Page goes for the buckshot lariat, and Fletcher straight up does a Kenny Omega against Kazuchika Okada at Dominion 2017 and faints to avoid the buckshot lariat. Page signals as he's going to remember that that's a Kenny Omega spot, and he goes for the V trigger. He hits the V trigger to get some retribution for Omega being taken out by Fletcher. He goes for the one wing angel, but Fletcher escapes. I love Callis on commentary saying, go for the eyes, go for the eyes, go for the eyes. Fletcher hits a pump kick. He goes for a wild shot, but Page is able to counter into the dead eye for a two count. Danielson tells us that we're 30 minutes in at this point. Both men slowly get up, and then we get just a beret of callbacks to their own rivals. You get Fletcher busting out the hidden blade. He goes for the Stormbreaker, but Page is able to reverse out of it and hits the big pressure. Shout outs to Swerve Strickland. Speedy recovery. See you soon, Swerve. Hits him with the big pressure, where he lands right on the top of his dome piece. That shit looked brutal. But Fletcher is able to kick out at 2.99. Callis and Bryan at this point are going crazy. We get Page went for the buckshot lariat. Fletcher's able to counter into a small package. He gets a close 2 count. He holds on. He goes for the sheer drop brainbuster. They trade counters until Fletcher dodges another buckshot lariat and reverses it into the sheer drop brainbuster. 1, 2. Hangman kicks out. At this point, Callis is going ballistic. He says that should have been 3. Bryan is going ballistic. He's like, holy shit, you can't keep Hangman down. Fletcher starts toying with Page. Bryan is warning him, keep on him, don't do this. He kicks him, paintbrushes him. Page rose up for some clotheslines that had 0 effect. Fletcher kicked through a lariat, hits a thrust kick and a wild lariat of his own, folding Page inside out. Fletcher then rips off the turnbuckle pad and he exposes it. He puts Page next to the exposed turnbuckle and starts nailing him with the Luva kick. Fletcher screamed at referee Paul Turner to shut the fuck up before hitting Page with another running boot. He then puts him on the top rope. He's going for the avalanche brainbuster, but Page fought out of it. He hits headbutts before slamming Fletcher's face right into the exposed corner. Then you get Page connects with an avalanche dead eye where my dude just tossed this guy off the fucking back and Fletcher lands right on his fucking neck. Then Page goes to the apron, finishes off Fletcher, turning him inside out with a buckshot lariat. 1, 2, 3, 38 minutes of some of the most superb, outstanding pro wrestling you will see. This is a certified instant classic main event. That is how you close a show like this with the best match of the night. Spoiler alert. 5+ stars. Hangman Adam Page in 4 pay-per-views has given us some of the best AEW World Championship matchups that we've seen in one reign ever. Between how he became number 1 contender with the Will Ospreay main event at Double or Nothing, then the Texas Death Match at All In, then what he did with MJF last month at Forbidden Door, and then this match here where Kyle Fletcher is certified. He is a certified main eventer. He is a certified future face of AEW. 26 years old, his first pay-per-view main event, and he knocked it out the fucking park. This dude was godly in this matchup. This is one of the top 5 best performances by a challenger in an AEW World Championship matchup. But man, this is how you solidify Hangman as the guy, the face of the company, and how you certify your future face of the company in Fletcher. 5+ stars, simply perfect main event. Kris.
Yeah, I agree. I love this match. It was, again, worth the price of admission, man. I really do kind of almost wish I was there live to take it all in. I love the chants from the crowd. They look like they were having a lot of fun with the match. I love the near falls. That neck, him getting dropped on the neck, Fletcher, it did look a little brutal. And it was one of those matches where you're just kind of like makes you happy to be a wrestling fan. And it's one of those matches where if you watch some dog shit after it, it'll leave a bad taste in your mouth. And unfortunately, I did that. But if the AEW pay-per-view is the only wrestling you saw this weekend, don't watch anything else. Just take my word from it, especially from WWE. And this is not me being a WWE hater. Again, it's an objective truth.
Very fair. Very fair. Josh.
I mean, that match was incredible, man. I knew they were gonna kill it, but damn, like, and that's what I love about like these kind of matches where you have expectations, and then even when they exceed those high expectations, I mean, wow. I mean, obviously, it was going on at the same time when the other show started, and there were people that were like, "Oh, I'm gonna tune in to this. I'm gonna have to watch Hangman versus Fletcher later." I mean, that's on y'all. Y'all stupid for that, just to do that, especially what ended up happening. But for everything that they did, man, like this dude Kyle Fletcher, I don't think, as long as I've been watching wrestling, I don't think I've ever seen anyone come up this fast from like an opportunity that he's gotten, right? Because we all, it's gotten to a point that we kind of forget that he was signed to be in a tag team. He came in as a tag team, and unfortunately his partner has dealt with really bad injuries. It's very unfortunate because I thought they were great together. So it kind of just tells you that low key that Kyle Fletcher's always been good. Because I thought they were that was a great tag team, and then unfortunately his partner kept getting injured. But to Kyle Fletcher's credit, he was given an opportunity and he's been running with it. You kind of love those stories too, where somebody gets used and then you see what they do. From the start, we kind of saw like, oh, they got something with Fletcher here, and then now to see where he's at now is kind of just like, damn. I don't think I've ever seen somebody come up this fast like that. Win or loss, I mean, man, incredible match. I love the pacing of it. I loved everything about it. This was the main event to go with, and but fuck Stevie Richards for what he said about Kyle Fletcher, because he's been proving him wrong. Fucking idiot. Fuck you.
Stevie Richards is an idiot, to be fair.
No, he is, but still, like, fucking, oh, he needs to work. He needs to go to NXT. No, Kyle Fletcher clears majority of that fucking roster at NXT. Let's be real. Let's be real at this point. He don't need no NXT. He's fine where he's at.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Josh. Stevie Richards' opinion is worthless, so I don't even care to really talk. Jay News.
Yeah, man. I said this earlier on my other podcast. I'll say it here. They put this match in the main event for a reason. Hangman Adam Page is the AEW Men's World Champion for a reason. Kyle Fletcher is the future face of AEW, and we all now know it's for a reason, right? This young man, there's nothing he can't do at this point. He's proven that much beyond the shadow of a doubt. A tremendous match. I expected a great match, and they delivered a great match, and they over-delivered on the suspense, the tension, the near falls, the callbacks. Like this was formatted like a New Japan main event at Wrestle. Like
in every way, it was a 2017 New Japan Pro Wrestling main event. It's like one of those Naito Okada matches where they're just dropping each other on the head. It goes the epic length, 38 minutes, and you get the close near falls. The crowd is on the edge of their seat by the end of it. Yeah, it was so this show, and especially this main event, it's New Japan in the 2010s.
Yeah, man, and obviously there's a lot of correlation between New Japan and AEW. Obviously, at the end of the day, so why not take take a page out of the New Japan book here and how to structure a main event? But these two guys, man, they give you everything every time they're out there. There's not one time I would ever suspect of Kyle Fletcher or Adam Page phoning it in. Not once. And what these guys gave us last night for their first match on the main event championship level was spectacular. And this is not going to be the last time they face off with one another. So kudos to them for how it all broke down and how it all happened. I from just a pure pro wrestling standpoint, I was happy at the end of that match because I'm there like, man, I only watched a few matches of Aniversario the night before, and I didn't even get to watch the MJF versus Mystico match and whatnot. I went to sleep, so I got to rewatch that later. I was like, wrestling right now across the board internationally is on real good footing. If you're watching on sorry to say it this way, but it's the truth. If you're watching non-WWE stuff, wrestling is at a real good place right now, right? And the thing is that people, you're anti-WWE, you're tribalistic, blah, 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 blah. Dude, give me better product, and I won't talk shit about you. What about that? At the end of the day,
honestly, hey, to your point, WWE don't even consider itself wrestling. So
right.
So it's not. Yeah, you're not too far off.
Yeah, and mind you, I know New Japan's not at its peak right now. I know that for a fact, and that's my second love at the end of the day. But everywhere else you watch, they're there. Even with how WWE has its claws in AAA, they've improved it, right? So it's like everything else is just so much better, and from a quality standpoint, and it's like it just goes to show, like it's just how you use your talent, man. And if you invest in your talent and you believe in them, they give you the kind of output that Adam Page and Kyle Fletcher gave you last night on All Out. You know what I'm saying? They're not, the ROI for AEW in their superstars right now is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It's absurd. So
it's crazy that you lose three main eventers in Omega, Ospreay, and Swerve, and then you have this show where you make a new one in Fletcher. So
yeah,
great stuff. Well done.
It's very to your point. Well done. My only thing is outside of Hangman and Kyle Fletcher, can they replicate this with other guys on the roster? Right. So that's
I think the work rate of this roster is just so ridiculous. Like you can, if you want to continue just the Don Callis family versus Hangman Page, you could do Hangman versus Takeshita or Hangman versus Okada. You could do a TV title match, a TV world title match of Hangman versus Alexander or Hangman versus Hechizero. Like yeah, you could just run that, and that's like that'll get you to like the end of the year basically.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you can go back and forth with other members from the Death Riders as well. Because you obviously you need you need the heels in all this, right? Depending as to whenever you're planning on turning certain talents and stuff like that. But
still got MJF in the contract,
right? So that's always going to be something that we're going to see coming, because it's not going to be a surprise. So we know. So that's another thing that's in there. So yeah, man, I just man, what a freaking main event it was. And I just hope for the best for those two gentlemen going forward. Where does Adam Page go from here? Don't necessarily know, but the reality is, I'm speaking for myself. I don't care, because I know it's going to be good. So
this man, I've said it. I said it last month. I said it the month before. He is the wrestler of the year for me so far this year, and last night just added another reason why I'm saying he's wrestler of the year. But I feel like Kyle Fletcher, for me, he made the statement that he's the breakout star of the year.
Absolutely, man. Freaking-lutely. I think also based on his loss, I feel like Kyle should go. And I know the TNT Championship gets thrown around here and there, but I feel based on this loss, he should go on a very not very long, but a good dominant heel run until he runs into that wall and whatnot. So
I think it's gonna be someone like Brisco, but we gotta see if they can delay that till like next year. He needs to go the rest of the year as TNT champion and have some great matches as TNT champion, and he'll solidify himself even further. But that brings us to the end of our review of AEW All Out 2025. Thank you all for joining us. Final call for Super Chat donations. And of course, in the live chat, if you're with us, you could say, what is your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP, whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give the show? For myself, Professor Kris, True Draw Josh, NJ News, for AEW All Out 2025, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from all of us out of 10. Josh, what did you give the show?
I give it about, I'll say 8.5.
J News?
Same, Ashley. Yeah, 8.5 for me. It's just they got back on the ball at the end of the day. Even the last pay-per-view, which we all thought it wasn't their best, but it wasn't bad. They picked the ball back up in this pay-per-view. So 8.5 for me as well.
Professor Kris.
Yeah, I'll probably go 8.5 as well. I thought it was it's again, I saw a really nothing pay-per-view right after this one, and just by comparison, it was way better. So yeah, 8.5 for me.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna make it unanimous. That's where I was at. I was like, he's either 8.5 or 9. But since I gave All In and Double or Nothing a 9 out of 10, I think that this is an 8.5 out of 10. It's just a smidge under the All In Double or Nothing standard. But once you get to the unified title, the last 5 matches of this show are just straight up bangers. Plus, you got MJF and Brisco in the first half of the show. That's great. You got FTR and Coping Christian. That was good. You got a pair of good matches with the Demand versus Hurt Syndicate and Rio versus her Mercedes. So, and then a match of the year candidate in the main event. Like, that's how an AEW pay-per-view should go. So I wouldn't mind. I don't blame anyone who gives it a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, but I'll go with 8.5 out of 10. MVP for the show, I gotta go with I'm gonna go with Kyle Fletcher and Jurassic Express. Jurassic Express, because they got the big moment of the show, but Kyle Fletcher, I feel, got the most out of his performance. And like I said, this was an otherworldly. This was Omega's performance at Wrestle Kingdom 11 against Kazuchika Okada. This was Will Ospreay against Kazuchika Okada at like a Wrestle Kingdom. This is like once in a century kind of performers are able to get to this godly level in a main event matchup, and Fletcher got to it. He was on that Omega Ospreay type status. J News, your MVP.
MVP for me goes to the luchador, man. Máscara Dorada came out swanging, and he swung for them fences, man, and he hit a bunch of homers in that match, man, and I'm proud of him. I'm glad Lucha Libre is getting the platform that they're getting with AEW's partnership. I can give a shit less what anybody on the internet wants to say. This partnership between CMLL and AEW has been fan-fucking-tastic for both parties involved.
Who's saying anything about the partnership?
There's been some chatter that I've seen online where folks are like, "Oh, CMLL," especially from CMLL fans. Let me not do the gross generalization. Some sector of the CMLL fan base believes they didn't need AEW in order to have all the sellouts that they've been having in Arena Mexico and have the fan base as involved and as invested as they have been. And I would really say that that's bullshit. That this AEW,
like the whole rise started last year, and that was when they first started doing the partnership with AEW. That's when their whole momentum started. That they went on this whole ride where they're like a promotion of the year candidate in 2025.
Word, man. Every time I'm looking online, either it be on Instagram or on Twitter and stuff like that, and I'm looking at the CMLL posters for the weekly shows, and it always says boletos agotados, meaning it's a sellout or whatever the case is. And I'm there like, wow, I haven't seen this in a long time, like back to back shows. And it's like, all right, yes, the CMLL talent is there. I've been crying for this for a while, and I saw him on TV in recent weeks. Soberano Jr., one of my favorite wrestlers in CMLL and whatnot. Hoping for him to come back from injury soon. They don't even have their top talent on the fucking roster yet, bro. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's one of those things where the relationship has worked so well for both parties, and I would only hope that this is what they can build towards with New Japan. If New Japan puts the boots to the ground and starts to run with the young guys and book them better, but we'll see as to how that goes. Yeah, so there's that. I know it's P3, but hey, I'm just putting that out there. So for all intents and purposes, I just wanted to put that out there. Watching, I'm one of those people who pay for my CMLL subscription on YouTube. I pay the $35 a month so I can get the shows live and all that. And I love watching the shows now, man. The energy's so different. The matches are so on point.
It is. I actually have a membership, but I have one of the lower tiers. So I decided to spend more money for some reason for the 92nd anniversary. So I bought the English version on Triller. Veda Scott was a virtuoso. Veda Scott was such a great choice for CMLL.
SP3, tell me who was with her in the booth that night? Was that Commander or no?
It was, I forget what he said his name was. He says Justin Miguel was his real name, but I forget which wrestler, but it was a wrestler who was in the booth.
Yeah, because he was wearing a mask. I didn't recognize the mask. I thought it was Commander for a bit, but then when I saw it again, it looked like Samurai Del Sol for a bit. So
yeah, it was Samurai. It was Samurai Del Sol. Yeah.
So okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Kris, what was your MVP for the show?
Kyle Fletcher. Just because I you never really know how someone will do in this spot until you actually see him in that spot, and I thought he really stepped up to the plate. So Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah, I'll actually change my MVP pick. I'll go Kyle Fletcher, Kris Statlander, and there was one more. Oh, Dorada. Yeah, Dorada, you're right. J News, like he was a standout, star-making performance. Josh?
I'm going for Kyle Fletcher.
All right. Then LVP for the show, I probably have to go by default with Big Bill because he was in the weakest match on the show. I'm going to give Eddie Kingston grace since he just got back to the ring, but Bill didn't give me much anyway. Josh?
Unfortunately, by default, I'm gonna have to give it to Big Bill. I mean, it's unfortunate because I, like I said before, I I've been like some of the stuff he's been doing with AEW. I'm glad he turned like his life around when it comes to a lot of things. He looks great too. Like he's in great shape. It's just unfortunate. I mean, shit happens, right? But yeah.
Professor Kris?
Yeah, I would give it to W. Morrissey, but I kind of want to let him catch a break. If I'm allowed to, I want to give it to Nick Khan and Triple H for the counter booking. Man, that shit was. It really left such a horrible taste in my mouth. If you're gonna counter, and I don't even care if you want to counter book, go ahead and do that, but make it a good show. Don't make it easy for me to just say, yeah, AEW is just stomping you out. So if I'm allowed, Nick Khan and Triple H, man.
I'll allow it. J News.
Oh man. Dare I say that the WWE contingent. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'll be right back.
Fair enough. Let's go. Match of the night. I think it's easy for me. Hangman and Fletcher. Josh.
Same main event. Hangman and Fletcher. No debate.
Kris.
Yeah, Hangman and Fletcher. That was an awesome match.
I should mention our community tab. We put up the post. What did you think of yesterday's AEW All Out 2025? 9 through 10 is in the lead. 66% of the vote out of 32 votes. 66%. 9 out of 10. And then what was the last one? We did MVP, LVP, moment of the night. It's Jurassic Express. Professor Kris.
For me, it was just I liked Daniel Bryan Danielson on commentary during the main event. So that was kind of my moment of the night. Just listening to him really did crack me up.
Josh?
Moment of the night, Jurassic Express reunion.
All right. J News, give us your LVP match of the night and moment of the night.
LVP, I don't want to rag on Big Bill too much. I think that they were put in a bad position to begin with, so I don't want to dunk on them too much there. I will say that since it wasn't a part of the main show, but it was a part of the show. In general, I will give the trios match on the Tailgate Brawl the side of the night. Because they only got 3 minutes and they didn't really do anything there to progress any of the stories that were going on. So that was bullshit to me. Moment of the night you guys were talking about. I gotta agree, man. Jurassic Express reunion is where it's at, brother. You know what I'm saying? That moment lived up to it all. A special shout out to Kris Statlander winning her AEW Women's Championship for the first time.
That was cool. Man. So,
yeah. That was a cool moment as well.
And match of the night.
Ooh, match of the night, main event. The main event was the match of the night. At the end of it all, if it weren't for that, it would have been the triple threat match. But the match of the night was something else. It was the main event. The main event was main eventing. That's all I have to say about that.
Mm-hmm. Pretty like unanimous, pretty much like the last 4 AEW pay-per-views, what the match of the night was basically. But we've made it to the end of another pay-per-view review. So thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching on demand, if you're watching us live, remember to drop the thumbs up. That helps us out so much. And thank you so much to our panel here. A lot of great insights, like a lot of great opinions being said about yesterday's show. Thank you to Professor Kris, as always, for joining us for our AEW pay-per-view reviews. Professor Kris, let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they might see you again.
Yeah, just follow me on my Substack, Professor Ely at substack.com. Blue Sky, KM Easy Does It, Twitter, KM Easy Does It, and watch the NWA podcast on Post Wrestling.
J News, thank you as always. Joining us for the AEW previews and reviews. Let the people know.
You guys can catch me on the Twitter machine at JohnLYFNMG, on Instagram at _JONJY. Catch me every Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Hit the Ropes podcast with the lovely Dolores. And you guys should be seeing me sometime soon, maybe this week, I think, SP3 for Destruction. Preview.
Right. We do need to do Destruction. So Friday.
There it goes. So we got the preview coming for Destruction and JPW Destruction. For those who don't know, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Me and SP3, and hopefully the lovely Sonal will join us, and we will be previewing that, and then we'll do the review whenever we decide to schedule that after.
Josh.
You can follow me, JamPunk321, on X and Instagram. And I'll be back next weekend for the flagship podcast.
And thank you guys. You guys were awesome. This was another great pay-per-view review for an AEW show. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSB3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. Patreon.com/TrueHillHeat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. It's the best way to support us when we are not live here. And you can check out our GOAT match series over there, as well as check out all the great content we got here on the wrestling YouTube channel right now, like the True Heel Heat flagship podcast 347 from yesterday. Myself, the True Draw Josh, and Miss Chrissy Love talking all about this week in wrestling, including Andrade's release from WWE and should AEW consider signing him to a contract now that he is free. And we had our final prediction for WrestlePalooza and All Out. If you want our review for WrestlePalooza, join us live here tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time, for our WWE WrestlePalooza 2025 review. If you didn't get enough of us trashing the show, join us tomorrow. For True Draw Josh, for Professor Kris, for J News, it is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been our AEW All Out 2025 review. We are signing off until next time.